Okie dokie. Hello, every folks, and good evening. Welcome to another one of these little doohickeys here. Let's go ahead and get started. Hopefully everything's working right. All the numbers say that it is. Look forward to that being proven wrong immediately. Alright, anyways. Last time, we had left off just at the start of Chapter 3, so, truth be told, I was kind of misremembering this section a decent bit because for some reason I don't know why I had this in my head. I was positively certain that we had the northern invasion completely locked off at this point. I believe the lock-off point is a bit after this, because you have the whole happy little back and forth section going on over here later. So this does allow for a little bit of time for going and setting things up. A nice little happy misremembering there. Okay. Let's go ahead and kind of talk about what tools are available at this point and what things are potentially new. So shop-wise, I gave this kind of a cursory glance last time, but let's go ahead and just kind of see in general what's going on here. Item-wise, we're up to essences finally being a convenient available thing, so might as well pick up a few of those, by which I mean we might as well spend nearly 100 grand on full heals at this point. Probably should spend a few of those on these as well. Now, I want to point out, I typically advise going for +1s instead of essences in basically every other situation. This is going to be the one exception in most situations. So the difference between the three, just to kind of reiterate the point, not only are these cheaper, which is kind of a moot point, but between the two of them, the recovery time is a good bit faster on the Salve +1, and basically there's no situation that you're going to be needing a full heal as opposed to 75%. In fact, you know what, screw it. I've just talked myself into just reloading that save and getting the right thing in the first place. I was thinking to go get more salves, but screw it. It is just plain not worth it. Why did I go to that many? That is not what I was meaning to do. Okay. Back to the shop, get some +1s, because yeah, the essences are tempting, but it's just, that 25% is never going to happen is the thing. It's a third of the time kind of slower to chug the big Gatorade as opposed to the almost as big Gatorade, and yeah, for all intents and purposes, it's just going to do the job in every situation. It's quite a decent bit less. Again, not really the most important point, but sometimes you just gotta be cheap. Anyway, let's see. Potato found gremlins to be super useless on Palace of the Dead. Am I doing something wrong, or is this normal? As far as the whole Union level 40 thing, it's always locked at 40. That's not... There's nothing particularly different about doing it at 40 as opposed to any other time. But as far as gremlins go, I mean, it depends. When it comes to... when it comes to the gremlins, they're very useful if you, let's say, give them a mercurial file and just have them run around munching things. But there's nothing really that's going to make them any particularly better or worse than a lot of the other units that are around. I mean, defensively speaking, everything's more or less on par with each other in that area. They don't really have anything that specifically makes them stick out, aside from, let's say, if you zombify one, and again, give them their the vampirism move, give them a mercurial file, just have them kind of pop up from the back, go up, munch something, get knocked out again. I personally found that to be the most useful way to use them down there. It's just compared with, let's say, using a fairy familiar. They're going to mass mind control things. In the case of a gremlin, their whole thing is just kind of bullying one guy. So... they're definitely more useful against bosses and things, but in that situation, just make a zombie gremlin. It'll do the job pretty well. See, sorry I keep asking you questions, but I don't have many sources of knowledge in the game other than you. I mean, fair enough, nobody covers this thing. And it's probably for a reason. It's designed by madmen. What can you do? Okay. I mean, yeah, fair enough. I know. There's a lot of messed up pit folks at Disney. What are you going to do about that? Let's see. I'll try to zombify them then. Thank you very much. Well, glad to help. May you have a good zombification adventure. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's other situations where, folks may have potentially found as well, but I just know personally, I just always see them as the sort of single target bully guy. Alright, now, a couple of things that I want to do before proceeding onward here, because yes, we will have the means to go back. Again, I don't know why I thought that this area was locked off, because yeah, it literally only gets locked off once you get over here, once your route back this way is cut off. because this is your sort of main route through the chapter, and then once they retake Brigantis later, that's a different story. Anyways, so first things first, might as well just go run Farampa a couple times just for resources. So we'll just go ahead and start off there, and we'll go ahead and replace you with... I guess we'll just do more as a pan here. So, here's kind of the funny part of this particular section, okay? Yeah, we'll probably have to switch him back in a moment. In fact, actually, come to think of it, it's going to be taking on Nice Guy later. We need a Fire Charm. I might actually burn through the strength upgrades at this point, but we'll see. Yeah, the more that I think about it, it might be worth sticking around here, attempting to get a hold of a Fire Mark and a Swordmaster Mark, but I'll explain that in a second here. Let's see, usually get hyper-focused on trying to make units work that aren't working on my run to work, like Swordmasters, but that's the fun part of the game for me. Yeah, dude, I have the exact same thing. I know what you mean. It's just fun. Okay, so here's the situation that we're in right now. So right now, the problem is there's 2 Hector fights that are currently between us and the next recruit, so once Union joins the party, that unlocks a lot of things. Since, again, Union Cap is basically entirely locked behind getting a hold of certain recruits. Story recruits, that is. So, once Union joins, I forget what exactly he'll jump us to, but either way, it's a whole new slew of options in terms of not only what's going to be available in, you know, skills-wise, since suddenly there's a new character with new levels and things. So whatever skills happen to be available, I'm fairly certain we can get access to Eagle Eye and Extend at that point. Or Engulf, rather. I keep getting those two confused. Dang it, One Vision, what have you done? But then, aside from that, I'd also like to get a hold of Swordmasters, because as decent as casters are, getting access to a Swordmaster might be by far the more useful approach there. Seeing as the same 30% that can be used for a single cast could potentially be used for mass, kind of mass breaking defenses in a huge area, which might potentially allow for actually clearing some maps, which might allow for... Okie dokie, that should fix the audio. Yeah, that's the delightful little thing that's happened a few times before when the system gets electrocuted. My bad. It did just die. That was because I was rubbing my feet on a carpet and it got all staticky and I shoved it on the power cord and everything started flashing, which is a sign of a solid and dependable system that I've got going on here. Anyway, so yeah, sorry about that. I'm just gonna not do that again. Or get hit by a tornado. Funnily enough, not that out of the question for this area, but also not what happened. But, yeah, no. Yeah, we're all good on tornadoes for the moment. That was a few months ago. Let's see, for a second there, I thought you were in Iran and got bombed. Well, no, not exactly. And that whole... God, don't remind me that whole situation's going on. I don't know where everybody's all from, you know, kind of out there right now, but we have this weird collective thing going on, and like, we're in Michigan over here, and it's just like, everybody forgets what's going on the whole global stage of things, because obviously stuff is fucked and confusing and a total mess, and, you know, 90% of everything, somebody ripping somebody off, it sucks. Anyway, and then, yeah, it's just, you see a bunch of people pull up next to a gas station as the prices update, and just hear several people yell "fuck" out of their car. It's just... Let's see, I've heard that One Vision, sorry, I've heard One Reborn is worse than the One Vision mod. Is this a normal take? I mean, it depends what you're talking about. Here's sort of the situation as far as the One Vision and Reborn thing goes. One Vision is essentially a fan project that has 10 years worth of, you know, fans' hopes and dreams poured into it with a very dedicated developer that has essentially put everybody's heart and soul into this thing. So yes, it is absolutely redonkulous as far as features go, okay? As far as a first experience for the series goes, that's mostly what Reborn's whole shtick is. Like, it is technically, like, on a mechanical level, it is simpler than One Vision would be, but also at the same point, it has to be mentioned that there's a lot of things that are firmly in that category of, like, way too complicated of a simulation going on for many folks to potentially grasp on a first playthrough. As an example, okay? Some of the things that they changed for the Reborn version. They took Bewitch and Charm and merged them into just Charm. They took Shackle and Bind and Stop and merged it into just Stop. Okay, so that's, you get the immediate gut reaction of, oh no, they took out content. But it has to be noted that the reason they took this out was because in the PSP version, that stuff was downright obnoxious. Oh, did your unit get hit by Bewitch? Well, I'm sorry, you had to have known ahead of time to go to the shop, take like a 35% chance, dice roll, to go craft your regular Charm Medicine into upgraded Charm Medicine, which gets rid of Bewitch instead of Charm. Do you know the difference? Was there any reason to know the difference? Absolutely fucking not, but that wizard just mind-controlled somebody and you have no way to get rid of it. Oh, I'm sorry, did your unit permanently defect because they were mind-controlled long enough? Because you went into Palace of the Dead not knowing this. They have now defected because this mechanic was never explained and is absolutely not explained in any context whatsoever. No, nobody brought it up at all. It just isn't a thing that got mentioned. So it's like, it's one of these cases where, like, yeah, it's technically some stuff was changed in that regard, but, as a first experience, as a kind of general purpose experience, Reborn does its job excellently. As far as a, like, master mode, whatever else, One Vision does that excellently. Like, for example, let's say in this version, you want to have somebody climb on top of a cliff. Okay, you upgrade their gauntlets so that they can climb a little bit easier. Oh, they still can't climb enough? Okay, then you switch them over to a ninja. You have them use their ability to climb up walls. They are now up on top of that wall. Okay, One Vision's approach. You can also go upgrade people's movement ability. You can also upgrade it through a skill version. You can change their one of their gauntlets to a grappling glove to be able to climb up there. You switch over to a ninja, a ranger, or I believe a headhunter. It's able to climb up on top of there, or potentially give them one of several different versions of flying moves or whatever else. It's like there's a lot more stuff in that version, and I do plan to cover it more. That's why I was on the vote for today. But yeah, the disagreement between them is completely pointless, I guess is what I'm trying to get at here. Because when it comes to One Vision, it is One Vision. When it comes to Reborn, it's Reborn. They are entirely different things. Somebody mentioned the perfect metaphor last time. Sometimes you just want to sit down and play some Settlers of Catan. Sometimes you want to sit there and set up a whole tabletop campaign. That's basically what it comes down to. It's just two totally different moods. But the same story, and this one has some excellent voice acting. Okay, anyway, back to it. Let's see. Yeah, right now it's just the Bloody Smoke from Canada. Oh, yeah, that's actually part of the reason that there's even a stream here today. Because a couple days ago, I could not go out and do deliveries because the air was frickin' toxic. Like, you literally went out there and your lungs would burn. Then yesterday, all of the delivery drivers came out, and I kept bouncing around this idea in my head all day of just taking that one scene from 300, like, oh, the Canadians will blot out the sun and it's okay, we'll go deliver in the shade, with like just a rusty shitty Taurus or whatever it was. I forget which car I was talking about yesterday. Oh, a Nissan Altima. Yeah, there we go. That's probably a better example, but anyway. So yeah, it was like, at least the tips were amazing yesterday, and then today everyone remembered, there's all this other stuff going on in the world, so all the tips disappeared. So yeah, really depressing day for delivery drivers. Anyway, let's see. I got the impression that the agility stat in Reborn is kind of useless. Am I wrong? I've only played Reborn. I mean, it's definitely on the lower end of anything you would necessarily stack for, but it's also worth noting the only time that it realistically has mattered was sure as hell not the PSP version. Like, Reborn is an evolution of the PSP version. One Vision is a completion of all of the stuff they kind of sort of started throughout, like, all the Mitsuno games at once. One Vision started off as a reference to the song, but seriously, it became one of the most fitting names ever. But let's see. Yeah, no. As far as agility goes, it's definitely nothing to write home about. Everyone's agility and evasion ends up in such a place. Like I know Recession made a chart a while ago, basically just detailing that yeah, your agility will always end up outpacing avoidance unless you specifically are like going and putting a bunch of avoidance on someone. So everyone's accuracy is give or take kind of balanced out across the board, and you kind of get the sense that they were trying to take take a more XCOM Enemy Unknown approach to what they were doing with Tactics Ogre before. Because this game was sort of designed as a sort of middle ground between the SNES version and the PSP version, because the PSP version was needlessly complicated. It was kind of the equivalent of like you order a salad and they just send you to a salad bar. Like, go ahead and just pick and choose everything. You're allowed to pick like 10 things at once. If you pick anything more, it just doesn't work anymore. Also, we've decided that for some reason croutons don't exist. You assume croutons exist. You'll always go there remembering the croutons. They have the croutons on the damn icon, but there are no croutons, and they won't explain why. It's probably the best metaphor I can give you for how the PSP version was, because they had 4 different buffs and debuffs. There were passives in the background. They were constantly fighting each other to determine whether or not accuracy existed. If anybody had any accuracy whatsoever, everything was 100%. If anybody had any avoidance and nobody had accuracy, evasion was down to like 25, or sorry, hit chance was down to like 25%. If they both had it, then it was like 90%. Like, it's one of these things that really gets misremembered a lot, because until somebody put on True Strike or True Flight, their accuracy was complete garbage. As soon as they got those, it's just 100% all the time. They just skip that step for Reborn, and you just kind of have your accuracy on there from the get-go. Anyway, back to it. Let's get back to sniping this particular map. Alright, let's see. I'm new to Tactics Ogre. For what I read, this is a challenge run where the characters are level 0, or what is Union level? Sorry, I'm new. Oh, never apologize for being new. It's okay. Everyone gets confused by this game even when they've been playing it for years. So Union level 0 is a mod that was essentially attempting to recreate the level 1 run kind of experience from a while ago for the PSP version. Because every one of these games, kind of at a minimum level, has a very, very different approach, despite ostensibly being the same setting and stuff like that. So in this particular sense, we're currently... So technically, the Union level, so that's kind of the Union cap for the party. Union level determines how high any particular character in the party is able to kind of raise themselves naturally. So the only things that are possibly available are anything that is kind of forcibly put into your party. So for example, Zapan over here is at 15, currently dealing with armies of units that are about 20s in most situations, with exception to this one zone. Due to the fact that, yeah, the Union level is at 0, therefore most of the party can only ever be at 1. Now, that cap also determines their skill access, which in this particular case means that nobody on the party is able to learn a single finisher, except for, you know, the Mad Viking over here. So, oh, bless you. Anyway. So, yeah, that's kind of that whole situation, but there's a lot of ways to get around this whole thing, and that's more or less what we are trying to do here. So, combinations of various different abilities, counters, debuffs, all of that sort of thing, because essentially what Reborn did was that it took all of the needlessly complicated statistical absolute tomfuckery that happened in the PSP version, and changed it to where, kind of like the SNES version, you only had to directly worry about a unit being as good as, you know, kind of you would expect them to be. A person was a person is kind of how I usually like to phrase that. And so, for example, in this particular case, you know, we have Mr. Zapan over here. He just showed up with the usual stats that he would normally show up with. But he's essentially taking advantage of the ice element on his finisher there in order to combine together with a critical multiplier that he's picked up on the ground in order to go and essentially get what is more or less essentially a double plus 30% bonus when he's going and hitting something. So essentially, yeah, he counters most things on the map. If he multiplies that hard enough, he can just go and basically insta-flatten most things on the map. There we go. Let's see. I really like this game. I've seen a lot of videos about this, but felt, to be honest, horribly intimidated by its complexity, already overwhelmed, and I haven't even started playing. That is very fair. Just to give you an idea, that's there's what I like to call the Tactics Ogre loop that you can actually see in the Steam reviews in real time at any time by going over to the reviews and just looking at the constant zigzag going up and down. And the reason for that being there is because most people get overwhelmed. Even in its simplest forms, this game has a tendency to overwhelm people in all kinds of different ways. It's why oftentimes when somebody gets into a particular version, we have like arguments between the ones that really like the fan overhaul and the ones that like the official version and stuff like that. Because as an example, okay, you have the original SNES version, and it was originally competing with Final Fantasy Tactics because, oddly enough, despite having the same director, despite coming out before Final Fantasy Tactics, the Western release only decided to show up at the same time as FFT, which resulted in this idea where you got like FFT over there, and they're like, we got this cool cross-classing system, we got all this other stuff going on, and then you have the original SNES version of Tactics Ogre, and they're like, there will be no skills. Every unit will have a bunch of hidden things. We will explain absolutely nothing. Oh, did somebody get hit by a critical? They're absolutely fucking dead, and it's your fault. Like, it's just, oh man, it's just one of those things. Anyway. Gonna flatline these two right here. There's actually still a solid chance this particular attempt might be a tad scuffed, but we'll deal with that as we'll deal with it. Hopefully he doesn't get crit by that one, because they got a 2. Okay, well, that's decent enough. Okay, they actually should be able to hopefully survive one more if this does not crit, but they currently have 90% chance to crit, so they are fantastically ready to go destroy things. Anyway, is the Switch version the same updates as the PC version? Yes. So yeah, Switch version is the same as the PC version. Essentially all of them have the same things. So we don't have that nonsense to worry about. One thing I will mention as far as updates and stuff go, there is the occasional thing you end up hearing as far as the 2 oddly specific bugs on this thing. I will be completely blunt with you, you will never run into those ever, and even the ones that are screaming about that really could just let it go by this point. It's like, there is a bonus that you sometimes get over 100 hours into the post-game that, like, will be slightly lower because one thing doesn't act properly, and it's just like, how has that become as big of a thing as it has been? Anyway. Let's see, is this game like Unicorn Overlord in the sense that you don't need to be optimal to finish and enjoy the game? So it's built like a sandbox, or so okay, essentially what it is it's an adaptive story. Okay, so essentially it's not directly a sandbox as much as everything that you do. Don't stress about it. Okay, don't stress about it, because people get into this mindset of like wanting to be perfectly optimal with every one of their choices or whatever else. Technically, to some degree, most things that you do are being kind of quietly judged. So, like, for example, your reputation, who you're having fight who, and kind of like what you say to people, what they say to each other, who's lived or died, that sort of thing. And the story adapts in a bunch of ways. Now, the ways that those adaptations happen are inconsistent and kind of all over the place. And it's basically designed as this sort of chaotic thing where you don't necessarily know what's meant to be happening. That's kind of part of the design. It's meant to be this like fog of war, chaos kind of thing. So yeah, it's just so you know that yeah, it is adaptable. It's meant to be kind of there for you to roleplay through the story, kind of adapt the things that you do to what's going on around you, make the choices that seem right at the time, and then hope stuff works out. And if you just, you wind up getting a bunch of horrific endings for everybody in the end, just go back, change some choices. There's a lot of hidden choices that happen all over the place. There's a lot of kind of little branches that happen kind of left, right, and center. So yeah, just so you know, sometimes it's one of these ones where it's designed for a playability, so a lot of times you'll go back, think you made the same choices, and then stuff will still be different anyway, because it was judging a bunch of little things in the background. But yeah, as far as optimization goes, basically, look, here's what you need to know. You see these elements over here? That's kind of the first layer of everything. You hit select and or minus and or your equivalent. You go over to this, and it tells you what elements counter what, okay? Just very standard Pokemon-esque stuff. Air beats Earth, Earth beats Lightning, Lightning beats Water, Water beats Fire, Fire beats Ice, Ice beats Air, Light and Dark beat each other, okay? So, everything that you do, like if you have a unit that is that element, they hit somebody else that is a, you know, an element that they are strong against, they are going to have roughly a 30% advantage. However, again, now we're getting into competitive Pokemon logic. If you have, let's say, a move on them that is a different element, like you saw earlier, he carries an ice move, even though he is weak to it himself, in order to go and hit other air things particularly hard. Or, you know, he needs a little bit of bonus defense, so he might go ahead and swap elements to a different element in order to be able to resist a particular type of thing, hit a particular thing particularly hard, etc. So, elements matter. Second thing that matters a ton is debuffs. If you want a perfect example of this right here, once you get to Chapter 2, first two-hander that you got an upgrade for, this Vihander +1, give that to a Terranite, apply a Fearful Impact, and this essentially gives you Fear and Breach, which is basically like just instant annihilation for anything. Debuffs are ridiculously strong in this thing. So elemental advantages are about 30%. A simple Breach, which you get access to in the tutorial, will be about a 50% multiplier. Basically just any debuff that you find, read it, apply it, try it. They've got minimum effectiveness for everything, including things like, let's say, concentration over here. The spell strike ability, regardless of a unit's casting ability or whatever else, will never drop below 30%. So buffs and debuffs and elements are really the way that this particular one is meant to be played. This version is very much the board game version of the bunch. You never directly have to rely on cards, but they do potentially multiply things very well. Just never get into that mindset of like, I need a physical card or I can't hurt something, because it means you've already kind of missed the point there. Alright, anyway. Back to other comments. Hold on, quick sip of coffee because I are thirsty. Alright. What's up? Oh, thank you, hon. Okay. Where's one? Let's see. Got kind of confused on whether dexterity and strength stats work for units like a Juggernaut with a bow and shield. If my Juggernaut has a high strength and mediocre dexterity, should I use a dex ring? I mean, you pretty much should anyway. If you have a ranged unit, just pump up whatever dex you can. And yeah, just dexterity helps, but like Breach and Fear and stuff like that will multiply that a lot more. Let's see, because I saw you recommending bows for Juggernauts. Yeah, and that's because they have a counter punch, which is surprisingly funny, that they actually have a punch that's as good as a regular melee weapon. Let's see, do you need lots of charms to your characters before you face Heavenly Generals? No, and hopefully by that point that's been realized. Like, stats become functionally free by the time you're getting to Heaven Generals. You can throw them around as much as you want. Like, yeah, if you want to spend the time to spend hundreds of stats on one particular character and have them go dominate, go for it, but just same stuff as before. Elements, debuffs, all of that stuff is really all you need to really get ahead there. Most of the Heaven General fights can be simply handled by taking anybody with, like, let's say, Evade or Ivory Tower or something like that, tanking the orbs and or other abilities that end up flying your way at the very start, and then just cleaning up with everybody else. Let's see. So it's element-based damage modifiers. Yes. So we'll get some more of that in just a bit of a second too. Let's see. Think about Pokemon specifically when you get multiple finishers in the late game, in regards to elemental coverage at least. Yeah, and that's the thing. You want to carry a bunch of different things around. Like here, let me go ahead and save this real quick, and then we'll go ahead and here. Let me load up another one. Just kind of show you what I mean. Okay, so we'll load up this one. Alright, loady, load. So okay. I like to use this guy as an example. So, like, take a look at this guy's loadout here, okay? So, what we've got. So, he's over here carrying a type of bow that has a counter attack on there, just because it allows him to counter attack with an axe, which also has the ability to parry. You'll later get sort of mix-ups to the early game, like, counter and parry setup. Now, this isn't because counterattacking is going to be some big damage source or whatever else. Physical attacks, for the most part, are just for building up MP and or finishing stuff off, or tapping it around in some way, okay? Physical attacks, aside from somebody like a Berserker, really don't necessarily... They're not going to be the same thing as, like, in something like FFT, right? So, For example, this guy's whole loadout here, he does this in order to get free MP every time he's counterattacked. So he's building up MP when he's hit, he's building up more MP when he's counterattacked. He then applies this to his finishers. He's carrying 2 different weapon sets around to give him counters for a bunch of different things. And, you know, it runs into an ice thing, hits it with a flaming blast, hits lightning on a water, hits infinity on a lightning over there, hits ice prison over on a wind, right? He's ice himself, meaning that all of these other ones, that his ice prison is 10% stronger, but all of these ones are now ice as well, if he needed that for any particular reason. But let's say he runs into, let's say some of the bosses have very high kind of standard defenses, and he needs a sort of non-standard way to damage something. So like, let's say it's really resistant to physical, really resistant to magical, whatever else, and so he would carry a couple of shock grenades with him, along with the lobber over here, along with this particular axe, giving him a bonus. Now, let me switch over to the other controls here. Sorry, he was not one of the ones using this bonus. Basically, your weapon skill multiplies your shock grenades. And so it would be something along the lines of he would essentially use his flight to go pick up a physical card. Physical cards plus your weapon skill modifies your grenades. And essentially it's a situation where if he has skill, he maybe goes for setting up a beast empowering type of setup. But if he runs into physical cards, he might go for finishers, he might go for grenades. Potentially, there's other variants of this, let's say with Canopus over here, where you might switch for more of a magical critical kind of build, if you happen to have those options available to you. You're essentially building for options rather than trying to stack for one particular thing. That is to say, you know, if you're looking at a general sense kind of situation. But let's say you also have one where is he? This one will be an okay example. Let's say you have somebody that is somebody like an archer or whatever else. There's nothing wrong with them, let's say, getting tremendous for the guaranteed critical, double for the guaranteed double critical, eagle eye for getting rid of parry and deflection, and then going and, let's say, stacking a averse effect on somebody to get that additional 15%. They stand next to a shaman to get them an additional 15%. It matches their elements, and now it's up to another 30%. You know, combine that with it, let's say it, you know, targets a dragon, then they put a dragon slayer on there, then they're completely ignoring its defense, then breach for another 50%, then like so on and so forth. It's just think of it as a board game, and you're just stacking tokens on that particular thing to completely fuck its day up. That's basically what we're looking at there. Okay, so hopefully that was a useful immediate crash course on what's going on there. But yeah, your standard direct hit, don't worry too much about whether or not it does damage. Basic out-of-the-box units are going to be more than enough to get the job done. I've done extensive videos on this. Most of the videos that I've done covering the late game and whatever else were specifically done with just base game unit, or just like base out-of-the-shop units for the most part, just so that, you know, just so you have that thing there. Just like, look, however bad your units are, they're good enough. Like, it's just multipliers. It's fine. Okay. Anyway. Let's see. Let's see. They get a different role. A good example is like double attack being best used later to exhaust shields. Exactly. That's a good point. So, for example, like, let's say there's a, a unit popping up and evade. Yeah, that would be one way to do it. Or, for example, you had a recruiter and they have a decent chance to recruit somebody. You can actually talk somebody into putting their shield down if you land that recruit, because it's technically a physical attack. Or, you know, you might potentially have a situation where you've got a rune fencer that's got a conserve MP, so they run up, they hit them with a strong magic attack of some sort, and then use their meditate to immediately try to recruit that unit to your side, which is surprisingly useful in Palace of the Dead. It's amazing how many maps you can get away with that. Okay, anyway, back to it. So, let's see, I'm at floor 82 in Palace of the Dead. God, this is difficult, but I'm going to do it without AI. Wish me luck. I mean, to be fair, the AI typically gets kind of dunked on down there, but, you know, unless you give mass steadfast to everyone. Okay. Back to prepping over here. Let's go ahead and go in this direction. This one is pretty much going to be the claw map here. Yeah, there's kind of a route that I eventually started doing in this area. We'll go ahead and go for the hammer setup here at first. Probably just gonna have to switch over to claw and or look for a better spawn. Basically, what we're trying to do right now is just get a hold of new materials as a bit of a refresher as to why we're doing it this way. When it comes to this mod, the hard mode disables the ability to recruit until you get lured, which is basically just there as a soft lock prevention tool if needed. It was not assumed that there would be any particular reason for there to be, recruit being necessary. Basically, if you've gotten to that point, you don't need it, kind of a situation. But anyways, we'll just go ahead and get this going here. Anyway, so to give you an example also, like, there's nothing really particularly special about Zapan over here, but, like, let's say we go ahead and put a dodge on him, and so, for example, his natural evasion was only 8% there, but because of the item that he put on, he's now going to have a 28% chance to dodge something, which doesn't sound like much, but when you have a bunch of attacks flying at you at the same time, it's going to be very beneficial. So his odds to dodge are never going to drop below 20% while he has that active. So even a finisher has a chance to miss him. Or let's say there's a boss that's hitting you too hard, weaken is weaken. 50% is 50%. It'll always do its thing. All right, let's see. Yeah, one auto here. Let's go ahead and see if this is enough to flatten this guy. Not quite. Also, one more thing to notice is that everything has a recovery time. That's one of those things that's kind of a bit of a aha moment for many. So, for example, like right over there, that finisher might have been dramatically stronger than his basic attack, but it's also dramatically faster than his basic attack as well. It's like that 40 MP is a surprisingly good deal for everything that you're getting out of it. It's like, let's say going down his list, swing this weapon is 23 recovery time, and it has, it has a little bit of an attack. It's a little bit stronger than most people, and primarily he's, against most people, and so he's primarily using it for that stun effect. But let's say he switches over to the Tyrant's Mace, that's 8 less recovery time, but at the cost of 40 MP. But also, it makes problems go away very quickly. So that's nice. Anywho, let's, that's not going to be worth it. Just going to go over here. Pick up one of these in order to make that Berserk happen. And hopefully with any luck, they all wind up in a circle. And if they do, if that Griffin ends up being anywhere nearby that wizard, then hopefully the wizard can be taken out, the Griffin can be stunned, and then we'll go from there. Okie doke. Back to the comments here. Has this game ever had... Oh, sorry. Wow, I missed quite a few things. See, Ozma, lend me some de-leveling Lancelot. This base fight with a brimstone we're going up against. Yeah, that's a funny one. Yeah, in the post game, you're expected to just deal with units that are already 20 levels higher than you, and may potentially have a permanent debuff that drops another 10 levels off you. Let's see, has this game ever had a PvP competitive mod or something? Seems to me that it would be super complex, but chances that if it's not 4 hours long, it would be really fun, or maybe 4 hours fun. I actually have a series on that. So I had a series of videos a number of years ago. This was essentially using the kind of sort of PvP mode. It was labeled as a multiplayer mode in the PSP version. It's worth noting that there's a lot of quotations going on there, because as far as the PvP went, it technically existed, kind of, sort of, a little bit, but it was more so a thing where you sent each other AI teams. And also it's worth noting that it tried to use what was ostensibly a very early version of, like, the sort of like XCOM Enemy Unknown or XCOM 2 multiplayer, like, points system of sorts, and it did not work particularly well, especially when it came to things like, certain builds that are noticeably more ridiculous than any of the others, just plain not getting limited whatsoever. Like, for example, it cost you way more to deploy a dragon than it did to deploy a completely maxed out archer. The difference was that dragon could threaten you. That archer, meanwhile, could just vaporize your entire generation's existence. So there's a little bit of a difference between the two. But yeah, no, it counted raw stats for more than anything, and skills, like multiplied skills, were insanely powerful in that one. So yeah, there were some considerations that got missed. All right. Let's go ahead and flatten this guy real quick because that Berserk rolled. We'll go ahead and take a heal next round and then just kind of mop up whatever's left. Okay. Let's see. Not sure they ever had anything, though. Had a shower, thought that they should put some sort of PvP. I mean, they had that technically PvP version, but it kind of wasn't. But get to that in a second here. I was gonna say if that guy parries that would suck pretty bad, but we'll just go ahead and wait. All right. Yeah, I'm just going to keep crossbowing. Like right here, the reason that these archers are currently doing absolutely nothing is because of the way that ranged attacks are multiplied in this one. So they actually used a different formula for Reborn, where ranged attacks are very, very, very heavily influenced by, for example, any kind of multipliers whatsoever. And by the way, this is going to seem really weird. I'm just going to run up and shield bash here real quick, because I do not want to finish them both off at once, because I was hoping to see if maybe they would drop a strength card or something, but no such luck. But yeah, for example, with archers, if you apply any modifiers to them, they go absolutely insane, but the base ones that the kind of rando teams here get are... they're kind of hopeless, if we're being honest. They got no chance here. They're basically just going to do ones the whole time because they don't have anybody to put breach on anything, so best of luck to you, Mr. Hattyman. Alright. See, when you use AI settings, does it matter if you place the units on Ardent Mender or Aggressive Attacker? I tried it before, but it doesn't seem to make a difference. Could you give some clarity? That is a system that, to this day, nobody really is entirely sure how they work. I can tell you from having extensively tested the AI system in the PSP version, that it mostly came down to a bunch of oddly specific arbitrary rules off in the background that they had to follow. So, for example, the Mender would only be able to attack, I believe it was like once every other round or so, and they would try to use items or recovery moves as much as possible, but it was always like broad categories as far as I could tell. I should point out again that even though... Okay, the actual AI settings only got figured out, like, actually found in the code, like, a few months ago, I think it was. And I don't think they even then made any sense of what the hell was going on in there. But yeah, that multiplayer thing that I was talking about is where I got to just sit there and stare at the AI for months on end. And that's mostly where it came up, where there seemed to be a bunch of rules for all that. As far as I can tell, the Mender AI seems to be the same as the old Healer AI. As far as the Aggressive Attacker AI, I believe it's the same as the old Frontliner AI, which basically is more likely to not move backwards when something's attacked. So, for example, if a unit goes forward and let's say they have the more aggressive version, they will sit still and keep attacking, or sit still and keep, just trying to stay close to the enemy units, whereas the one in the middle there will typically attack and then try to reposition somewhere else to prevent the map from getting too clogged. Let's see. See, thing is that only was remotely balanced with topped off units, which was good luck with that. Yeah, that was the weird part. I was mentioning that in the videos too, that like if you had completely maxed stat units, like complete maxed out base stats, completely maxed out ranks, and then, all the equipment in the game, then you had a somewhat workable system for the most part if you completely ignored the monster units existed. But, like, everything else was completely hopeless. And for context, again, in that version, you could spend the entire game with a skill on your list, and it would barely, if even, hit rank 2 by the end of the story. And even by the end of post-game, you might almost hit rank 3. Out of 8. So, yeah, it's kind of whatever there. More on that at some other moments. So this got me very confused. Yes. Welcome to the series. Hello, goat. Well, hello, fellow goat. See, bow better than dragon? I mean, yeah. Shockingly. Let's see. I think Rakes once said that he had to throw PvP balancing out the window due to all the stuff in OV. You can technically do that, but it wasn't designed for that. Yeah, the score system... Dude, the score system is hopeless. I don't know what the hell it was basing it off of aside from base stats, but that score system didn't do jack shit, dude. Let's see. All this is surreal for me to listen to. The only TO I've played was the PS1 port of the SNES version. What? I know you've played One Vision, Regdren. Wait a minute. I'm mixing up with Tostones. Never mind. Yes. Okay, there's a lot of different versions of TO. Also, yes. I mean, I guess technically... Was Ring of Red 2 different from TO with, sluggish robots? Was it really that different? It was, but we can pretend it wasn't. Anyway, let's see. When you try to do a POTD run with only AI, do you customize each AI or aggressively attack everyone or something? What I usually do is put Steadfast on everybody that can use Steadfast, primarily focus on just having a team that supports each other with debuffs, have at least 2 charm bows in there to repeatedly just make everybody charm each other. Weirdly enough, despite it getting made fun of, the AI in this game is genuinely better than earlier versions. But boy, is it bad at advertising it. Like, they added a feature where it specifically avoids charm, like existing charm targets when it takes its shots. If it doesn't have, or if it doesn't have a means to go touch something, it tries to get out of its range. Like, it does all these little things that somebody took the time to program in and then just doesn't advertise it. Just classic Matsuno stuff. Let's put 10 billion features in there. Tell no one. They seriously are the Jim Carrey Grinch of game design. All right. Let's see. Not really sure if I should try to think about this. I mean, simple POTD team, okay? I'm going to assume that you only have kind of out-of-the-shop stuff. I guess actually one immediate question. Have you done temples? If you've done temples, that does change things a bit. Let's see, there's a lot of things to think about. Yeah, there's plenty of things to think about. But, anywho, while waiting for the answer to the temple question, let's go ahead and continue on here. So primarily what we're trying to do in Farampa is just get a few more odds and ends to go either sell and or potentially get a sword master mark for Zapan. That would be handy. Is there a hard mode tactics ogre? Technically, no. I mean, I guess you could say playing without the chariot, which I personally wish that there was the option right at the very start to turn off the chariot permanently and never use that stupid thing, but whatever. Okay. But yeah, hard mode in this mod basically disables recruiting. That's what that's referring to. So it sets the union cap permanently to 0, and it prevents you from recruiting anything. See, the question revolves more around the AI settings. Well, actually, the reason that I was asking about the temples there is when it comes to the options that you have available. So that actually opens up a lot of options for you. So one option that I particularly liked, just go and get, let's say, Damask weapons, upgrade, let's say, Damask swords, put them onto hoplites. Kind of basic AI team would say a couple of AI hoplites, a couple of AI knights. Again, just make sure to put Steadfast on everybody. Get some flight shoes, a couple of archers with charm bows. Those are just crescents with the bow upgrade. You can get those in floors 1 through 25 pretty regularly. Just, get crescents and go upgrade them. Give them Eagle Eye, take off all of their finishers, and they will spam fire those dang things. So just extend and, or rather engulf, plus Cupid bows, plus Eagle Eye. That is a guaranteed chance to hit that charm debuff. They will always pick different enemy units. It causes mass chaos, basically completely deletes any cohesion in the enemy team whatsoever. The reason for the Damask Sword upgrades on the hoplites, they absolutely love to tank things with their tank moves. Just put both automatic tank moves up. If you can get Patriarchs and Matriarchs, put a couple of them for your casters as well. Seeing as there's going to be a lot of holes in there, so anything with hyper armor, anything with the ability to fly is kind of a secondary option, but ideally hyper armor or steadfast is what you want. So a couple of knights, a couple of hoplites, a couple of archers. Now, whether or not you want to include clerics will depend. I personally like to run 2 clerics with resurrection. Bear in mind that they won't be able to use BOS because they do not believe in buffs, so that will just not be an option for them. But what you can do is kind of just run them anyway. Just run them with resurrection, run them with a simple heal 1 and res. What that does for you is that it allows them to use just a simple cheap heal. Occasionally they can multiply that up to a decent heal, and then just resurrect anybody if they do get knocked out. It's pretty unlikely with the tankiness of that team, but again, still worth considering there. Yeah, let's go ahead and hit this one. And then kind of trying to keep an eye on the 2 Terror Knights that are closing in here. So ideally I want to see both of them taken out before they can do anything. Because if you do get hit by fear in a situation like this, it's just going to be a bad time. Anyway, So yeah, if you do I want to grab that one or no? No, I don't think so. Hang on, sorry, just thinking out loud here for a second. I think what we're actually just going to do is go for the sweep over here. Because I want to ideally take out that TK. I don't think I'm going to be able to do that before they hit, so I want to take that out. Hopefully roll for the stun here. Oh, that parry sucks. Okay, that, yeah. That went badly. Anyway, alright, anyways. So yeah, that would be a decent core for a POTD team. It's just always remember to double check who survived or who didn't. Really, the charm bow is really the main thing there. It's easier to resurrect and give somebody an instant turn than it is to try to heal everybody up to full. And if you're thinking, oh, I'm just going to turn everybody into a zombie, don't bother. Just resurrect them. It'll be faster. They don't get a instant turn if they're zombies. If they're resurrected, they do. And you can actually do a pretty simple setup with the rarely used combination of Insight plus a bunch of MP boosting gear. So Insight plus some MP boosts plus Resurrection potentially allows a Cleric to be resurrected with 100 MP, and then, you know, kind of go forward from there. Anywho. Oh, you have a spoon! A Korean spoon, indeed. Alright. So, next over here, get a bit more crit action, drink some Gatorade, all of that sort of thing. Let's see. Unless you're dealing with the Crimson, dealing with the chickens in heaven. I mean, that's a whole other nightmare. Don't do San Bronza on AI, it's just going to be a bad time. That's just not a good idea in any context. Okay. Huh? What am I streaming on?
Streaming.
What do you mean?
I could join and annoy you.
You could join and annoy me. It's just on YouTube. Okay, well, whatever. Go for it. Anyway. Let's see. Spend longer in this game than FTL by 10,000. But, you see, we're still waiting on, like... we're still waiting on Tactics Ogre Reborn Multiverse. That would be something else. I mean, I guess One Vision's close. It's something. Okay. Let's go ahead and take the backup plan. By the way, what I was talking about last stream with the AI always stealing your dang cards, as you see. Stole my dang mind card. Didn't really need it for Japan. I'm just saying, they just do that sometimes. Also, it's probably worth mentioning the distinction between the sort of like the auto pickup little deck of cards that you carry and the stat cards. They look a little bit different. These ones look like tiles. Alright. Who doesn't look like what? Who that one? This guy?
I didn't imagine him to be
That's a... Well, I mean, this guy is not the main character. He's dead on most timelines. There's just like a random mercenary guy that just happened to be convenient for this run. And, ooh, actually something good for one. Oh, no. Of course, every time it's accessible, it's something like a freaking loyalty card. I'm pretty sure he's loyal given that he is the army by this point, but whatever. Let's see, the Humble Conserve MP / RT Resurrection 2 Denim. Yeah, that thing's ridiculous. If you have missed it up to this point, yes. If you have Lord, you trade him over to what are you doing? Yeah, okay, I mean, I like to think I have 2 brain cells some days.
Or I think it's your phone.
Fair enough. Anyway, but yeah, no, what you can do is combine Conserve MP with Conserve RT. So basically, you're casting for free in both time and MP, and then at that point, you simply just give him Resurrection 2 and nothing else. And as soon as somebody dies, he immediately walks up, resurrects them at full health, full MP. It's just ridiculous. Whoa. Babe, what are you doing? How do you go from playing with a cat to chucking a spoon across?
I put a cat up there.
What do you do the poor to this poor cat? Anyway, okay. Sorry, apparently the cat is gonna be surveying his land from a top shelf here. Okay. Anyway, so we're gonna go back to flattening this guy. There we go. Collect all their stuff, and then we'll go from there. Oh, good God. Anyway. Alright, let's get back to it. Get our usual $30 for dealing with random folks hanging out in the woods. Kind of a grim reality, but it is what it is. Okay. So, back to it here. Yeah, this next one is kind of an iffy map. It's the one that has a tendency to go randomly sideways, so we're just going to go for the knife on this one. Between the starting areas, this is probably the one that's the least consistent, because basically what goes on here with these ones, the first map has a tendency to be very poisonable. Sometimes Iron Fan works pretty well there in a solo. If you can get a bunch of poisons off for here, that works decently well, and that's honestly probably the one that I should be going for here, considering that fairies are going to be our main source of charms. And a fire charm is primarily what I'm looking to get here, considering that that we probably want something to deal with Hector. But let's see, Darkest Dungeon is currently humbling me. Yeah, good old Depression Simulator. I mean, I love how it was like the premier kind of standard Depression Simulator until Fear and Hunger came along, and I'm not even sure it came first. And my friend gifted me that game a long time ago, and I just keep thinking, like, I know there's that PG mod for it. Would anybody want to ever see that streamed? Because it is strategically fascinating, but my God, that game's depressing. Just kind of curious. Does anybody have any clue what the hell I'm talking about? There we go. More and more poison for all the happy dragons. Unfortunately, we didn't get any of the familiar spawns this time around, which is kind of the main way that this has to go. Man. By the way, there's that dodge, by the way. 20%. They just dodged 3 attacks in a row. Okay. One little... Oh, I forgot to put his skill on, too. That's going to help matters. Yeah, a little bit of happy sanguine action here. Sorry if I missed your conclusion answer, my mom. What? Okay, then. Why not? Talk to me here? Wait, what? I have no idea what's going on. Anyway, I will chuck a rock at this bush. So you sure even care about AI settings? I mean, just set your attackers to attacking, set your support guys to healing. Basically, the main one to remember is just that the healing AI, for the most part, will not attack every other round. Like, they have a bunch of very oddly specific just stuff that it may come up, it may not. It's very oddly specific. Just assume that they do what they say they're doing. Let's see. There's a PG script for Fear and Hunger. Not a script. I mean, don't get me wrong. That whole situation still will be mega fucked whatever way you look at it. But there is a PG mod that basically gets rid of some of the way more you know, you probably don't ever want to see it on a screen bits. You know, like the whole, hey, you got attacked by a guard, chop their friggin' schlong off. Like, that's... I'm not afraid to say Richard. Just bought this today. Well, I am so sorry that that's the first impression when you hear that you bought this today. That could not have come at a worse time. Sorry, Fear and Hunger randomly came up. But yeah, this game is fantastic. I hope you have a great time with it. Yeah, that timing could not have been more awkward. No, it's not Hunger Games.
No,
There's a very
Joe.
big difference.
Fucking Joe.
I know.
Hunger Games and everything I can. Hence, username. It's
I know.
named after that one.
I know. Anyways, though, yeah, the best first impression. I sure hope not. There we go. Yeah, one avoidance card that would have been handy in this particular case, and they stole it. What is the cat doing? He's like staring judgingly down. He's like, what is wrong with these people? My God.
He's an angel.
Yeah, I will tell all the scratches on my shoulder how much of an angel he is.
Literally, he's an angel.
Okay, I know. All right. Anyway, back on track though. So, back on the whole thing in the woods here. Hopefully we've managed to just barely last long enough here. That dodge is putting in way more work than it usually does. Because yeah, mostly what you need to have happen here is that you got to be able to dodge long enough for the poison to do its thing, and then just use the poison to deal with the dragons, and then, you know, gremlins and or fairies get close, they drop the cards, and unfortunately it looks like this sucker over here is friggin' packing criticals, of course. You know, these things happen sometimes. Also, I love that he's an earth, and this happened to be the one time that I decided not to run in here with a dang dagger setup, but whatever. Anyway, trying to get out of range of the dang gremlin. Hopefully it's possible to get close enough to that thing to deal with it, but I'm pretty sure he's gonna win this one. Unfortunately. That's how it goes sometimes. Alright. But yeah, unfortunately can't... Well, I mean, there's not really any way around the setup right now. I should have stacked more healing items. That one is on me. Alright. Yeah, one dragon's gone. Second one would be gone. Should have brought more heals. He's not going to dodge that. Alright, go ahead and run that one again with a couple more heals in the pocket there. Well, I'm actually going to go ahead and reload the spawn there a couple times. Because I want to get at least one charm before we go deal with Hector. Got two fairies. See, the issue that comes up here is that they're the ones that have to be killed off. They also mostly have to be killed off last, and ideally they'd be killed off first, but getting there is the problem. Let's see, solo run, you crazy man. Hope people dying in this game is super sad too. Yeah, it's not a solo run. This is currently a Union level 0, which is basically that experience is functionally speaking disabled. And right now, I was in the woods trying to get some new materials here. I guess before doing all that, I know I can circle back anyway. It's probably worth selling a couple things and then just like we'll circle back and resupply as needed. This is for all of that 100k that just got spent. Most of that's already been restored, so let's kind of circle back as we need to. Sell off the giant pile of helmets and or possibly heads that were still attached, and go over here, and before somebody says it, no, we're still not doing the blowgun trick. Alright, sell some sticks because we're never going to use those, and go ahead and save and move on here. Alright, so let's go ahead and see about doing Hector 1. See, it's 3 fights. That's the thing. It's 3 fights that have to happen before we can move on to the next section, okay? Before we can kind of start worrying about new stuff. So this is going to be Hector 1, Snow Hector. The thing is, we're going to need Breach plus Flaming Fists here. He's going to be first use of Stun Proof. Not going to be bothering with that. He's thankfully not running Phalanx, so generally good dude. Alright. Now I know what I forgot. Alright, we're actually going to go ahead and go back to title. See, 0 XP run, so just happens to be the only person able to throw a body at Denham's problems. Currently, yes. Okay. And now I remember what I forgot to do, which is to buy more feathers. They're surprisingly important, but get some plumes, get some basins. I had sold a lot of this stuff earlier because this run barely made it into Chapter 2. Like, beginning of Chapter 2, it basically resulted of just selling everything down to the dang, like, pocket lint in everyone's pants to be able to even slightly make it through that, and then just sort of slightly improve past there. Picking up some brands early. A little bit of an explanation on items here for anyone unfamiliar. Plumes are just strengthened. It's not much, it's like 15%, but when we're dealing with something like, let's say, a Berserker dropping a finisher on somebody with a breach, there's a lot of other multipliers already going on, so that's just a nice way to multiply that even further. Basin probably won't come up. It's roughly a 20% resistance to what's typically called as overhead damage, so that's like once the number's already free-floating past armor and whatever else, which is just a weird esoteric concept in this case, but whatever. It make defense gooder kind of in some situations, maybe. Spellcraft, probably not using that. That just makes spells better. Healcraft, it maximizes your healing scaling. I'm not going to use that in this case. We might use that later when Swordmasters are available. One of the things that I want Yunin for is to make it more likely to get a Swordmaster in the woods. Strangely enough, there's actually a mechanic that I've never seen come up in any of the guides that I've seen written for this thing. It's a leftover mechanic from PSP, because the PSP version had constant level caps for everything. It's one of the hilarious things about seeing people leaving negative reviews like, oh my god, they added level caps to this version, when they were such a fucking nightmare in the PSP version, because you had level caps constantly for everything. Your drops were level capped, your spawns were level capped, your equipment was level capped, your skills were level capped, your spells were level capped. Everything was separately level capped in its own oddly specific categories. But the thing was, when it came to drops, they actually kind of sort of kept it, but not really. So the higher the levels are, the more kind of options they have. It's like, the way that it's been described to me is that it's just sort of like moving brackets as levels go up that make certain things way more likely. So like, I've seen a Swordmaster mark drop in this particular run, right? And it almost always ends up getting picked up before I can get to it. The problem is, there's only a few maps where that can happen, and on other playthroughs, when I've gotten to that area, they've dropped like frickin' candy. So it's one of these cases where just the drops in general are going to be working differently, especially for things like charms, which at this point are pretty unlikely to happen, but again, drop pretty frequently later on. So the hope is that once Yunin joins the party, that changes a lot of things in that regard. Anyway, let's see. Suffering builds character, just looking at how interesting a character of Zapan is now. Yeah, he went from standard mercenary to the only one keeping this mess alive here. Yeah, Mercurial File. This is the thing you give to your zombie gremlin and otherwise completely forget about. Joel the Avatar, best buff item in the game. Fantastic. 20% chance minimum to dodge anything. And I'm glad to say that it sounds like that mod that was pitched the other day. It sounds like it might potentially be happening, but we'll cover that when we get to it. True Flight. I did pick up a few of these before. We'll see if we end up using those. Picking up some Filters of Ashes. These give you a 20% chance to dodge ranged attacks. These are rare in terms of their usefulness, but for something like this, it might potentially mean a lot. Black Lizard Powder, definitely need a lot more. This is also kind of tied for best item because this is at least 30% odds to land a debuff no matter what. Very useful for things like Swordmasters who may not necessarily have the mind to land their debuffs, but 30% in a crowd that's going to do something. Brands of the Sacrifice, 50% offense reduction. Dynast King's Mead, 50% physical multiplier damage. Is good stuff. And the rest of these kind of sort of exist. Alright, and actually, a couple of Horns of the Savage. I bought and sold a couple of these earlier for this exact same purpose, but in case we run into any maps later in which we need one, it does also essentially give a oddly specific debuff to just ranged units. But alright, let's go ahead and throw an attempt here, because it is just 3 fights. So it is possible that this works, otherwise more prep might be needed. Alright, so most of the team is here just as a simple distraction. Just kind of throw randos wherever, attempt to throw out debuffs, petrify, all that sort of thing. Ideally, once we get access to Yunin, he will be an archer, because it would be amazing to have things like Eagle Eye. If we have Eagle Eye, that allows for just all kinds of fun shenanigans. Alright, also go ahead and put Voltaire up front in case he wants to drop a breach. Because yeah, if we get Eagle Eye, those... by the way, if the guy who's new here, if you're still around, 100%, if any move says that it has a 100% chance to hit, it will always land its debuff. So, for example, things like Eagle Eye guarantee side effects on ranged attacks, things like Vigorous Attack always do the same thing for melee weapons, and so on and so forth. Okay. So I forgot to restock many of the items, but we'll go ahead and pop some of these on here. Just gonna move on forward. Also, hi there, Damien. Good evening to you as well. Hope all is going decently for you. Also, that one, I apparently forgot to equip anything but a shield. Sure. They're doing their distraction duties even more seriously than before. Also, wait a sec. My brain no work. Okay, hold up. We are going back to the title because I forgot to give him his punch skill. That's what we're going to be needing here. Alright, go back to this. Reason for that is that fire element. We're going to want one of them thingies immediately. Okay, switch over to fists. And out of curiosity, is there a available boulder upgrade over here? Because this is like the only situation when this would be necessary. Most of the time, basic weapon damage is not going to matter that much. You're usually going to be doing just fine anyway. But we just barely don't have access to Boulder Claws yet. Once they are available, next shop upgrade. His punches do a little bit better. Alright. Alright, you're going to go there. You're going to go ahead and pop on one of these. Wherever I put them. There we go. Alright. Mr. Dudeman, you're going to go ahead and throw one of those meads on him. Probably pop on a little bit more armor because you don't have to be as zoomy anymore. Alright. Mr. Voltaire over here in case he happens to get there too. Reacheld. Let's go ahead and give you a Wart Dart, see if you can cause some chaos. Most of these ninjas are being given blow darts in order to go either petrify or charm stuff off in the background just to keep it off everyone's butt for the time being. And then... unfortunately, there is no lobber yet on these guys. There is no way to get lobber on these guys. So, do we use Canopus for this? I guess. This one's going to be a fairly short fight, so I'm going to be fine risking Canopus on it. Because if he's even in a position to die, then the whole fight's gone way too far south anyway. Like, you basically start 2 turns away from this guy, and he likes to charge forward, so... it's all well and good. Alright, and additionally, we're actually just going to go ahead and throw one of these on him right away. Then he doesn't have to dodge himself. Hopefully those clerics never come into play. And basically what we're just looking to do here is stack a bunch of multipliers, just breach, strengthen, 1 fire punch should be all he needs, just turning him into One Punch Man, basically. It's funny how you can have something that you can reference despite never having watched a single episode of the dang thing. Anyway, Wart Dart over here. Based off of previous runs, Wart Darts completely break this entire zone in half. It's actually a very specific weakness of Hector's entire army here. Now, I know he sabotages his own team and stuff, but still. Just going to do basic Magic Leaf on him, because by the time he gets there, he should have enough for his punch already. Alright, stay there. Go head on this way. Hector's going to stay put for the time being. One strengthen up here. See, so do you have to go all down different paths in this mode, or just one? I mean, it's up to you. Oh, in general, you mean, or like for this particular challenge here? No, the goal is just to get to the end. Like realistically, I was saying this last stream too, but it's just the post game stuff doesn't really matter in this particular route, so the ending can be whatever. Like, if you get to the post-game, you basically have replenishable max-level characters anyway, so it doesn't really do anything different. But getting to the end the first time does actually play quite a bit differently from usual, because you're basically stuck with the absolute most bottom-of-the-barrel of people ever. You know, getting through a lot of the challenges is rather difficult, so there's that. Perfect. So we decided to get close. Now Voltaire should be within range to drop a breach. Let's see. Is he actually one of the ones that's poison-proof this route? No, he actually is not poison-proof this route. Fantastic. Well then, we have that. Let's see, what was the encounter... was this encounter the inciting incident for the sabotage, or did it start before that? So the way that I read this whole situation is that he basically is just looking for a way to fix all the problems with his family being stuck in a forever war, basically. So he's trying to find some way out, but doesn't really have any kind of concrete plan to do so. So after this, you know, with Denim pulling a Hannibal through the mountains, he basically goes back to his dad. He's like, hey, so guess what? Found a way to not get all of our people killed. Kind of comes with the downside of the two of us are getting killed, but you know what? You know, all for the sake of the many, basically. So he basically comes back. He talks to his dad about this. They talk the whole plan through. He sends all of his commanders out to all sorts of random locations. Sticks with a lot of loyalists and sticks all the people that were rebelling against him in the basement, and then loudly yells at Denim as soon as he gets there, like, "Oh, gee, I sure hope nobody finds all, you know, the giant war-winning incident going on down there." So yeah, basically, he just kind of... It's not exactly the direct inciting incident, but it kind of is to an extent. So it's like it starts the domino effect, I guess you could say. Alright, so as it is, he is 78 on a basic. The flaming is a 259 before breach. So for right now, we'll just put him right here. Unfortunately, didn't roll the breach off of Dudeman over there. If... he's probably going to heal off that poison, but we'll see. But there's a lot of advantages going for us here. But yeah, for anyone that didn't know, Hector's whole plan here is that he's trying to take his whole population, like their little duchy or whatever you want to call it, that they've got going on, and he's trying to get them out of the war by whatever means necessary. And so they don't really have a concrete means of doing that, because if they just directly switch sides, you know, the Galgastan are kind of known for immediately changing their mind on things, turning on people to try to get them to, you know, not follow Balbatos and stuff like that, so they immediately end up switching sides. If you want a more modern example, you know, we have an unfortunate modern example, you know, of just people just wanting to immediately switch sides because certain somebody says so. So, in order to avoid that situation, what he's trying to do is basically force everybody into new management. So, like, if he takes over for his dad. His dad gives control of the castle to him. He dies. His dad then gets control of the castle back, gives it to Denim, who then proceeds to, you know, just kind of go off and do whatever he's doing. That dad, despite being left in charge, then goes and throws himself off the walls, resulting in a situation where they are functionally leaderless and obligated to no one. It's a weird plot, but also kind of makes sense in context. Okay. There we go. We got the breach off. And now, hopefully, something good will happen. We'll see. I think that knight just prevented good things from happening, but give it a second. Okay. See, I mean, you could argue he was halfway on his way out since Chapter 1, but I think this is the earliest registered case of direct sabotage. Yeah, the way that I was pictured it is he's just, like, out here with everybody like, man, I don't know how to fix this stupid-ass situation. Hold on, is that an answer I see in the distance? Because he is very quick to immediately run away from this fight. Like, with the breach, let's see. That gets us up to... Yeah, we're going to need 2 of these. Hmm. Yeah, even with the strengthen, interestingly enough. Well, that's not ideal. But we'll go ahead and Sanguine up, see what this gives us here. I might actually need that Fire Charm. Yeah, Sanguine actually is decent in this case. Hmm. Yeah, Sanguine Zerk might be the way to go. This is doable, but I think we're going to have one hell of a bad time without going and getting more resources. Because, like, even Poison by itself will do the job here. I'm pretty sure he's still vulnerable to it in the second encounter as well. But I need him to be dropping like a 500 or so to get past the counter. I don't know the exact score off the top of my head, but it should be about a 20%-ish difference as it is right now. It also might be worth bringing a Fire Wizard along. Because 15% for reverse, 20% for switching him to Fire. I mean, hell, even switching him neutral might be the way to go here, because he's got a direct disadvantage versus the guy. I didn't even think about that. Alright. Getting retry from start here. Need to give... I'm going to try Fire Burst, and then I'm going to try switching him to neutral here. Not overwriting the previous save, though. Pretty sure these guys are all ice. Whatever, we're just going to go neutral. Keep the Bagna. Forgot to upgrade the leggings. Probably should have done that. But, it's not a huge difference. Helmet. Yeah, might help a little bit in this case. Okay. I don't know why I keep checking the skills as if there's going to be anything different on there. Probably switch this to a Salve 1. Fire, right. I didn't put in the Fencer last time. I mean, he was planning to be the Fencer last time, so you know what? Going back to Fencer Denim. Because he's got that slight speed advantage, so we re-implement BOS, we re-implement the shield. Also re-implement a fireball, which I don't have, damn it. Okay, you know what? Back to the shop. Alright. A rarely, oddly specific thing of needing a fireball. Just get a basic one, just so they can cast it quickly. In case we need to stack any other reverses, we're going to stack those on there too. There we go, one of those, one of them. I don't remember if the ninja summons do it, but I'm going to assume not. Okay. Also, I guess while we're here, let's go ahead and upgrade them pants. There we go, it's a very slight adjustment. Let's see, mute darts, boulder darts. Still one of the most oddly specific, like it's funny, as far as weapons go, like the Balder blowgun is such an odd niche of like being a spellcasting staff with no range bonus. It's basically a wand. And it's like it's not even better than its contemporaries, because like, you know, you get these ones over here, it's close enough to the Mega Staff to count. So this one's already 8, and it's like you're giving up all that range bonus, but whatever, I guess you can shoot blow darts out of it now. It's exactly something. Right, any of these worth doing? Vit +1, probably. War +1, just in case. I don't expect that to come up, but it might be kind of neat if it does. Let's see. Hi there, Roog. How's it going? And yeah, we're about 5-ish maps away from being able to get gems, so we'll do that when we get to it. One more Ring of Alacrity. These actually could be pretty useful. Slap some of them suckers together. Because, yeah, for the ninjas and such, the Alacrity rings could actually give them a chance to hit something. It's not much, but it's definitely not zero. Alright, now, for him right now, 5 strength, 5 fit, 5 vit, and some luck is great. 5 extra vit might go a long ways, but yeah, surprisingly, War Ring. It's weird how much the War Ring got nerfed, considering it was already pretty mediocre before. Because, like, even in later contexts, like, War and Def Rings are just completely not worth it. See, internal monologue while fixing equips on an army definitely sounds like insanity. I'm certain mine's quite equally quite gibberish. Yeah. Huge bit of this game is just thinking about oddly specific things. Now, what is a better way to punch this man? Well, I mean, yeah, with your fist, of course. Okay. See, anyone knows how to write I missed Deneb's orbs in Valerian? There is, I mean, I did a video a while ago of being able to type everything in Valerian script. Here, you know what? I actually probably still have that up in the background. Hold up. Where is it? Was it on this thing? Let me see if it'll allow it. Yep, here it is, Valerian. There we go. Oh, that's weird. It translates it back to Times New Roman as soon as I try to put it in the chat box. All right, hold up. One sec. Where is the thingy? There you go. It looks like that. Need to zoom in. There you go. That's how you would type that. All right. Let's get back to the other one now. All right. Now, where were we? All right, so we switched over to lightning. Decent enough. Yeah, we're gonna try to make it work. Less confident now than before, for sure. Because yeah, I was really kind of hoping that would swing more towards like the 400 or 500 range, because then poison plus that would do the job. But we're not really locked into the next few fights until after this one anyway, so we'll make it work. I wonder if there's anything with a particularly good mind bonus here. Or even just give him a rapier plus 1. One of these. Tower shield just because it looks cool. Plus 1. Okay. I don't even know why I'm trying to give him a mind bonus. It's like it's as if it will make any difference here whatsoever. All right. One fire here, one spark sphere here, one nice happy heal and or ease over here. When the hell do we get a hold of ease? Whatever. Doesn't matter. Say, I didn't know they made that? Oh yeah, no, they I think it was Warren that put that together. That it's not only deciphered, there's actually a downloadable thing that you can plug it into your kind of text editor of choice. So that's why I have what is it here? Abbey word. That's the Linux thing. So yeah, I can just slap that sucker in there, and it's good to go. Just types everything in Valerian now. It's pretty neato. Okay. Now, back to the previously scheduled getting steamrolled by some people in the snow. So with any luck, hopefully without losing... hopefully without losing anyone here. We're looking to have Canopus and Voltaire land their breaches early, hopefully with neutral instead of going in at a penalty. Might see some good stuff coming out of this. There we go, that location looks fine. Let's see, I was playing Anulus for a while, stopped playing it a few days ago, some hidden mechanics got sale after a while. I mean, it had... I was basically covering it because they, you know... They sent a whole collaboration thing over, bills are bills and all that kind of thing. It was okay. It had some, some workable ideas, but honestly, I know personally I didn't stick with it for very long just because the art style was kind of gross. But yeah, it didn't look like it was completely ready to go just yet. I mean, I think probably the funniest thing is I told them specifically about a whole bunch of bugs that I found while testing, and they're like, yeah, we reviewed it with our marketing team, and they determined that it's actually fine. Like, if you say so. I think I even mentioned that during the stream there. But yeah, because I was pretty sure they weren't reviewing it afterwards. Alright. Anyway. He liked it. Started the same day as I started Mikarashi. Mikarashi won my attention. I'm trying to remember that one. I feel like that was on my list to check out, but I don't remember. I mean, I should probably point out even the to-do like review pile at this point is like getting into the unreasonably large double digits, so it's kind of hard to keep track sometimes. Alright. We had a giant backlog to get through. Hold on, we gotta get through Tactics Ogre yet again. Alright. Now, let's see if by any chance this one wants to be a critical. Because, yeah, all of the previous thing was at a baseline. I mean, I'll take a skill, I guess. So previous one was at a baseline. If there is a physical and a crit... I always forget these cards exist, even. Then we should be good to go. Alright. You get over here. See, Mikarashi is front mission mobile gotcha version. Alright. That sounds pretty neat, then. I mean, as far as phone games go, I think the only one that's really kind of gotten me to stick around has been Sword of Convaleria, but that's mostly because it's genuinely just a straight-up good SRPG that happens to be attached to a phone game. Like, it's not even really... aside from the UI elements, it's not really designed directly as a... as that kind of experience, you know? Alright. Well, I should say, the part worth playing is not designed as that kind of experience. This is always somebody that pops in like, no, I saw the usual standard thing. Like, I logged in and there was a bunch of buttons for, like, click here to insert money to receive giant boobs. And it's just ignore that part. There's a great game underneath that. It sucks that part's attached to it. But they've been pretty open about the fact that they just wanted to get a game and that was the only way they could get it published. Because Nintendo thought, triangle strategy was a better idea for some reason. Alright. Now, you go here. Unfortunately blocked. Goes here. So you feel the same about Mikarashi. You can almost feel it as a normal game under the shell. Yeah. It's always nice when those kinds of things happen. It's like, as much as I don't like the idea, for example, of certain companies owning certain things, even as a mobile game kind of thing, like I will say, I had Into the Breach on my backlog for the longest time until I found out it was part of a Netflix subscription, and then finally tried it, and then was just absolutely enamored with the thing for absolutely ages. And then somebody made a port for the Vita, and then I just had to 100% it a second time. Let's see, I read it was originally going to be a full front mission game before being reworked. Wait, seriously? That happened twice? Damn. Like, that's the exact thing that happened with Sword of Convalaria there, that it was supposed to be the original triangle strategy, and then they're like, wait a minute, it'd be way easier if we didn't try. Is triangle strategy good? It's, dude, it's like baby's first SRPG. It's not awful or anything, it's just that it's so basic. There's not really any customization. All the plot branches are completely fake. Like, at most, with Triangle, you get, like, a few moments where it branches off to another fight for a little bit. Some of your scores determine whether or not you'll get somebody slightly earlier than another one, but, like, in the end, it's... there's really not a whole lot going on there. It's like, I think, honestly, I know for me personally, it's more so that they promised so many things that didn't deliver that bugs me more than the actual production value of the thing. Because they're like, you know, here's all these choices that'll matter. Everything you do is just on, you know, on the scales here. And it's such a cool mechanic. The voting mechanic was such a good idea, and they just didn't take it anywhere. You know? The missed potential sucks. That's what annoys me about it. See, didn't like Into the Breach, felt too puzzly. Gotta give it enough runs, it becomes its own thing after a while. See, I guess most of the stuff I have on my phone are ports or emulations now that I think about it. Yeah, I mean, I've got, like, I'm not even joking, like, several thousand pictures of the kids doing funny things, and then, you know, the space that's not there is, like, SOC and a few, like, apps of just funny things and or YouTube. Yeah, I hear you on that. So yeah, hopefully they'll have a full release by the time it closes. SE has a recent story of doing this. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for too. I mean, the main issue is that it didn't come out of Square Enix. It came out of friggin' God, I don't even remember the name of the company. I usually just start it up and never go back to the main menu to avoid all the mobile game stuff. What was that company's name? I don't know. Don't care. They are the sort of Convalaria people. That's all I need to know. So you mostly try to keep full games on my phone, but mobile 5 to 10 minute game as options keep sneaking in. That's why I like my Vita. It's just that I got my one vision wherever I go. It is a simple life, and it is cozy. Alright, there we go. Got the breach, didn't get the fire. I also completely forgot to put the scale on him, so this is once again going to be a testing run. So, let's go ahead and run some numbers. At a neutral and a breach, we've got 362 with 1 fizz. I mean, like, that's not bad. With a finisher, that actually could do the job, possibly. Because finisher then should be in the 400 or 500 range. Probably go ahead and drop a second fear over here for good measure. Just to go and give the AI something to think about. Archer is something we probably should be able to damage later. See, how hard would it be for someone who has 0 coding knowledge to learn how to mod Reborn? Dude, I have no idea, but I can't imagine it's terribly easy. But it seems like many of the mods that are coming out seem to be kind of going and borrowing different ideas from each other. So I think it was Mods and Moogles was the Discord server, so they're probably the ones to ask as far as getting into all that. But it seems like most of them typically pick something to sort of base their mod off of, and then go from there. Just gonna continue throwing some random darts around. This run's basically toast. But I'll give it a go. Because yeah, I think just kind of combining it as it is right now, he can get 2 attacks off, he can get the poison off. If the healers are distracted, this actually is perfectly doable. As is. Like, it's unlikely to happen at this second, but this is doable. This current party is capable of it. Yeah, he's going to get the heal off. I mean, basically just comes down to doing enough to heal or to distract that guy. So getting a petrification off, getting a charm off, something like that. Remembering to actually bring flaming fists on time, that would do it. Funny, I joined that just last night. Well, there you go. Like, that's basically the place to be as far as modding Reborn goes. Let's see. Makarashi did come out of SE, so that's where my hopes are. Understandable. They do eventually let some games go. Yeah, the whole mobile game thing is a bit of a bummer. Because it's actually funny. So, I've tried to explain this whole situation to my kids several times because, you know, they got their own hand-me-down phones and they were going and, you know, playing around on those things and doing the usual of getting immediately swept up in various types of slop and whatever else. And over time, you know, every now and then I would just hand them some old handheld or something like that. Like, here you go, just give this a try, give this a try, give this a try. And recently, they've actually started coming around to a lot of that stuff. So, like, just seeing my daughter sitting there, like, comparing the differences between, like, she's going through Pokemon Go, then going and booting up Soul Silver, and it's just like, you see what I mean about all the extra features over there? Oh man, it's just delightful to see. All right, it's like hell. Recently, like my son had been doing all kinds of various like mobile slop racing games forever. Recently, he just got absolutely obsessed with Road Rash on the Genesis, on like emulating on an old PSP. Just like, oh, it's good stuff to see. It's good stuff. All right, right, helmet. Right, yeah, he can't use those pants anyway. Oh well. Actually, this might be one of those rare cases where siege actually matters. Alright, let's throw this a go here. Some mobile sample games are epoxy on society. Yes, I'm guilty, but I'm trying to break free. I mean, it's a formula that it would be nice to see, you know, turn into something better over time. I feel like over time people are going to eventually start wanting to see something different. Like, that kind of style of stuff typically doesn't stick around for terribly long. Especially when it's a million copies of the same thing, you know? You have to do this with your kids? Yeah, I have to do it with my parents. Yeah. I guess to some extent, it's one of the quiet benefits of having absolutely no interest in ever talking to mine. Or rather, no interest in talking to one of them, and the other one being so far away that realistically, that you know, we just kind of talk about stuff every now and then. So, anyway. All right, so let's go ahead and move you here. All right. I think probably having Canopus hold back a little bit might be the way to go. In fact, actually, everybody should hold back a little bit. I'm gonna have them sit back here. Because if they can swarm in after the other guys decide to get close, it's probably our best bet here. Hector seems to have a two-turn counter. So we go over here. Get a little bit of dodge action going. I forgot to put the strengthen on him this time, but that's fine. I'll have to adapt to that over time. See, one of the mechanics that they probably could have made a lot of use of, and like I've been thinking about this a lot lately, going through Ogre Battle 64. I wish that they had had something similar to what that game did with mid-fight transformations. So, for anyone unfamiliar, OB64, it had so many experimental features that basically only ever happened there. And so one of them was just like, if certain units got hit with certain things, they would end up being turned into something else. Okay, so like, let's say you had a Iron Golem and he was hit by a Plasma Storm, he would get transformed into a Balder Golem. He would just get like his metals fused together, and now he's this new thing, you know? So yeah, they had this system there, and I keep thinking like, having something like, let's say, Draconics go and screw around with somebody's element or something, that would have been a really interesting use case for them, and certainly would have fit the vibe of what they usually do, you know? Oh, finally, somebody gets petrified. Let's see, also saw the bones of a full game under Anulus, namely when characters joined versus plot. Yeah, I mean, it kind of made me think a little bit too much of War of the Visions, where it's just stuff just sort of kept happening, you know, and they're just like, no, it's fine, all these characters are running around with duplicates because something, you know, they're ghosts or whatever, and you popped them out of this ring or something. I don't know, don't question it. Anyway, would you like to, you know, pay $15 for more boobs, please? Now that game was tasteless. Anyway, let's see, OB64, definitely a hidden gem in my opinion, and combo spells, yes. Those combos were a ton of fun. I mean, for anyone that's ever played it, the reason that it even matters, like, it's not those combo spells were impossibly unique or whatever else. It's just, it felt really cool to see these squads getting to know each other over time, and eventually, you know, they're just going and casting unique abilities because they know each other that well. You know, it's cool. It's like this neat little team up moment that they're doing. All right, let's see. This guy wants to take a nap. Please take a nap. Nope. Okay. Anyway, pullback strategy is working decently. If we can get over here, get one of those going. Let's see, how's Flaming looking on this guy? Yeah, 390 with only one physical. We haven't even gotten the breach yet. This will work. So just got to get the healer distracted. Of course, the irony being that, go figure, I finally risked Canopus and kind of got dunked on over there. Alright, now we got more petrification going. I guess one of the quiet benefits of petrification, as far as its weirdly specific value and stuff like that, is that, yeah, the AI still thinks of its units as sitting over there, so it kind of gets focused on, hey, I already have a unit in the front line, I don't have to send another one. Kind of odd, but it works. Now please petrify this healer, man. Well, they hit the shot anyway. Alright, do have a dart here, though. Okay, did not land the poison, unfortunately, but healer is going to go for one of those instead, so that's fine. Let's see, Gislemba's company and the other mobile poets take seriously, but I prefer the prequels, it's not that bad. Okay, I'm not sure what we're talking about over there. So you felt the way you do about War of the Visions as I do about Brave Exodus. I've heard good things about Brave Exodus, but yeah, I haven't really looked into that one much. I've had folks tell me that it's apparently supposed to be really good. I don't know. Take their word for it, I guess. Also, unfortunately, did not get the Fire Reverse, which is the first time anyone has ever cared about this debuff that much, but okay. Let's get you here, try to petrify this healer some more. Okay, that's not gonna... Never mind. Okay, anyway, got the breach. 667, there we go. That actually is nearly enough to actually send him off to where he needs to go. Wait a sec. Wait a frickin' sec. That's the wrong guy. What the hell am I doing? That is the completely wrong guy. Never mind. Sorry. I just, like, wait a minute, he's got a helmet again. When did he put that back on? Anyway. That was dumb. That's okay. We'll get it next round. Yeah, for anyone unfamiliar with why, Hector in both One Vision and older versions wore a helmet. He just had the regular Knight Sprite. I'm just so used to hitting that. Also, there's Lava Hector. I remember there's a Lava Hector in Chaos. Is that right? I'm trying to think if that's right. Alright. At any rate, though, we can at least test this situation here. And breach this guy. Do more Petra Darts in this direction. I think you're mixing up about Lava Hector, because yeah, you've got this version of Hector on Law, where he shows up in the snow, or rather, he shows up in the ice sheet over here, and then he shows up in the castle. You've got Neutral, where he's going to show up in the... Neutral, he shows up in front of Almorica, he just gets executed, and then you got the version on Chaos, where he shows up on the cliffside, giving you the whole speech about... well, you'd think he'd give you more of a speech about the fact that you kind of, you know, killed his wife and all that, but he's more so concerned about national pride or whatever at the time. Either way. Let's see. Afraid you're having fake memories? Yeah, I think you might be mixing it up with Lava Gamp. Then again, you know, that might be the SNES version. There are a few encounters that only happen in the SNES version that they ended up reworking to other things, like the two octogenarians that show up in front of Almarca are actually two separate fights in the SNES version. I know one of the bosses does show up on top of a volcano, like that one map that's got like the ramp running down the right side. Is that the right one though? Lava Cressida? That, I mean, maybe. Although no, I think Cressida was only added in PSP, wasn't she? I'm misremembering that, but... Dang it, now I'm questioning it. Alright. Well, at the very least, we got some data off of this, so he is two-shottable. So that's nifty. We know that we can take out one of his knights relatively easily. There's also, considering he's got a physical here, if he does pick up, or rather, if he does happen to stand next to another physical here, and then get himself smushed that way, that could also potentially be an option. But we'll deal with that as it comes. Yeah, it would be extremely unlikely, but theoretically, if his units go pick up some cards, and then, let's say, he decides to show up, then let's say he misses an attack or something and happens to have a physical card spawn right behind him or something, and then Zapan happens to take his turn, picks up that card and rolls that crit, which, I mean, considering he's dead right now, would be a bit difficult, but still, there's that. See, I think Cresta existed just as a generic non-recruitable Necro. Possibly? I feel like... yeah, maybe. It's been a minute. We should probably do more SNES version after this. Now, I say SNES version, I mean PS1 version, to be clear. Alright, now was there anything really missed? Because that feels like it was just misplayed more than anything. Go ahead and give you the upgraded salve here. Alright. Because yeah, I just went after the wrong guy. There we go, we'll get that plume in there. Okay. Yeah, I feel like... Gave strength to the wrong person. Well, not just that, I gave breach to the wrong person and then got confused because, again, that is the same sprite that he uses in older versions. So I'm like over there just attacking the completely wrong guy. Like, oh hey, we can do so much better against this guy. Also, I still forgot to give this lady a blow dart, but whatever. She's just gonna exist now, I guess. Has Saturn emulation for TO improved? Technically, yes. I'd much rather just play the PS1 version. Like, say what you will about the different consoles and whatever else, it's just, the Saturn version basically just bumped up levels a little bit and called it a day, which, it's not gonna matter. Like, not in that context. Not to any real meaningful degree, anyway. See, OGT Tactics Ogre underrated, learn to love the game mechanics of it. Yeah, there's, again, it's a lot of hidden mechanics. Don't get me wrong, I mention it as being simple, and I don't mean that as a bad thing. because that's honestly one of the strengths of Reborn as well. It's simpler than the PSP version, but that's not a bad thing. It's the same way as, like, you know, when you have a older car or whatever else, it's like, oh, it's got simpler systems in there. Yeah, but it's still running as opposed to that computerized monstrosity, isn't it? It's still holding up. So just because something is, you know, simpler or older doesn't necessarily make it worse. Like, the only issue I have with that version is genuinely just the fact that they absolutely had something against tooltips at the time. So, for example, there's a lot of hidden effects that there's no way you'd ever figure out. Like, again, fairy armor, immunity to a very oddly specific, I think it's like 3 or 4 different debuffs that it gives you an immunity to, and they're like, it belonged to this king! So, what am I supposed to do with this information? I don't know who this guy is. Why do I know that this makes him immune to like 3 debuffs? Why would I ever know this? It's not like this lore is mentioned anywhere. Like, no, go figure it out. Read the wiki as God intended. Alright. Let's see. Need to go here. Slowly inch along. Need to burninate Mr. Dudeman. Hopefully we get the Fireverse. He is one-shottable. I will say that much. He is one-shottable, assuming that we can get the Fireverse and stuff going. Kind of like quietly regretting switching Canopus out of the Barton because there's no possible way to get more right now. So you do no training runs? Yeah. I mean, that game's a whole thing about scaling up your experience based off of the level difference between them does work reasonably well, especially in that context. Like, if you do a no training run, that's one of the little beauties of everybody being able to throw a rock. You throw a rock at a higher level thing, you immediately just get a free level off them. It's like, oh, hey, I learned that guy gets hurt by rocks. I guess I am stronger now. Who knew it was this easy to work out this whole time? See, that's secretly why you're doing that at the gym. They just kind of power leveled the floor, and every time you put the barbell down, you're just getting a free 100 XP. It's really what you're paying for. Okay. Don't suppose this dude wants to get petrified, maybe? I mean, I will say, again, just like in this one with these oddly specific mechanics, like, you know, petrifying somebody at a distance, and then the AI thinks that somebody is there, and they just react to that. I mean, to this day, it is funny that the SNES AI, despite being system-wise the most simple, feels the most advanced because it just does the most sensible things for the most part. You know, things like staying up on their castle walls, which is a surprisingly, surprisingly low bar for the series. Well, let's not send our archers into melee range, but there they are. Like, seriously, I don't know why the series never brought that back, because it's clearly on purpose. The way that they act all the time, it's clearly intended for some of these limitations to be there so that people, you know, can actually finish these games or whatever, but I wish there was a way to make a version where the AI stayed where it was. I mean, even Rakes has kind of sort of done that with One Vision a little bit, but it required putting a lot of kind of hidden shackles in the background for units to not be able to move from their spots. I mean, granted, most of the official versions of this game are almost playing at the same level as friggin' like Totally Accurate Battle Simulator. It's just like the second you let them hop off that roof, they are gonna charge up to melee range. It's just what they do. They love to do it. But, oh well. Alright. Go back and give this guy a thing here real quick. Get that breach going. I wish Zapan got his turn right now. Like, what a nice placement of those cards that is. You've been playing the SNES game, but man, the game is grindy AF. I'm on Chapter 2, and literally after every single fight, you have to train your units up. You really don't, though. And I don't mean that as a contrarian thing. I mean, like, seriously, just go throw rocks at things. It's amazing how much time you can save by just throwing rocks at things. So you do no training runs, play to PFC, remember grinding like crazy. I mean, again, you can. It's just like, if you make that choice to just go throw rocks instead, you'll find it a lot simpler to handle. Just keep your distance, throw rocks until they hit something. Surprisingly, it just works. Let's See, obviously it's because kings are immune to certain plebeian debuffs. You know that if you were a king yourself. I'm immune to the height debuff, thank you very much. You can abuse Sniz AI if you have an undead character. For whatever reason, they always prioritize attacking undead, which doesn't have permadeath. Yep. It's actually one of the funny things that happened for this version as well. Oh, we don't have the breach yet, but that's a nice happy 405. Well, I mean, I guess I might as well just punch him then, actually. See if we can get that poison, get the breach off, then do the big punch. But yeah, the funny thing about the AI and the undead in this version is just, yeah, if you can recruit yourself a undead in the first chapter, which you can, because you can do that now, the AI basically doesn't bother carrying exorcism whatsoever until, like, chapter 4. So, yeah, surprisingly handy. Alright. Now, Canopus is going to be able to do his thing in a bit of a second here. See if we can get the averse. Did not get it. Probably should have just gone for the bottle, honestly. See, rocks give you 25 EXP if you hit somebody who's 2 level higher. That means you need 4 turns for 1 level. Well, yeah, I mean, if it's only 2 levels, who gives a damn? But if it's, you know, if it's, let's say, any higher than that, you pretty much immediately get a level. Not to mention, you just do that a few times with a few different characters, and/or if you have somebody on your team that's a bit higher, you have everyone chuck rocks at them. Simple enough. See, used archers' mages, letting them come to me while I pick them off from high ground, retreat to higher altitude and terrain and snipe them. Yeah, I mean, again, movement felt pretty good on that one. Alright. Yeah, didn't get the breach. We're gonna have to run this one again. Guess I didn't realize Canopus was in sniping range. Which is a bummer, but oh well. This is why I should have just gone for the bottle that time. Yeah, I know personally, I just kind of kept everybody running around with like spears and bows and a few casters, and it worked pretty reasonably well. It's like, sure, you may miss a thing every now and then, but that's why you throw several things at them. Oh, got the poison off. Got the breach off at this point. Kind of nifty if that somehow worked out, but it won't. Give everyone a one-handed bow? I mean, yeah, might as well. I mean, the only argument against it is like, oh, but then, you know, then they won't be in melee range to get it, you know, get hit by something. Like, like one-handed bow and shield is pretty much the ideal setup for most situations. So yeah, weirdly enough, the best armor in the... Well, I guess it's not even weird. The best armor in the game is just your basic tower shield. Same, everyone got one-handed bows. Canopus was one of my favorite archers. Yep. Let's go ahead and Skyrim that shit. Why not? But yeah, we probably won't be able to do one of these streams for a decent minute, but I think maybe the next one should be like TO Classic. I really do not cover that thing enough. Also give him a one-hand sword. I mean, that works. And also give him a dagger. I mean, if they're already running a dex build, why not? To go over here. Set the most obvious ambush ever. And this time, hopefully, don't let the strengthen wear off. And do actually apply the breach when it's supposed to happen, and hopefully actually land, you know, a fire burst and stuff like that. This is actually going to be probably one of the... It's going to be one of the very, 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 very few cases where reverse actually matters quite a bit. Like, the more that I think about it, even thinking about the mod video from the other day, it's It's not that elemental weapons don't have a niche. It's like, oh hell. Are you okay? Please tell me you didn't just hit your knee. Alright. Pausing for just a moment. Okie dokie, and we're back. Sorry, the kitty turned Miss Potato into mashed potato. Yeah, the cat picked just did some absolute friggin' Assassin's Creed crap off of a cliff.
I mean,
Just like,
was watching Cassandra.
I guess. Just like, just like,
Is his girlfriend.
I gotcha. I don't know. I haven't played that one yet, but yeah, no, you just friggin' leap of faith into her knee over there. Anyway. Also, good night, Drew, then. Have yourself a good evening. Sorry for the kind of random moment that went over there. Anyway. So. Missed a bunch of things. And yes, as far as whether that hurt, yes, it hurt as much as it sounded. She says very much. I know. Okay, fine. So, it's like, basically to explain the situation, she had a leg injury a little while ago that had like this little, it's like a line of fluid, basically. Like, back several months ago, there was ice on the ground, leg slipped a bit, hit the bottom of the car to an extent, and it's just like the knee went very slightly to the side, but it resulted in a little like tear of some description, I guess, and apparently possibly a meniscus tear, I'm told. And yeah, anyway, so the result is like this like really painful fluid line thing, and the cat was just like, I know exactly where the pain is. Let me go for that. So yes, thankfully it was the skinnier of the cats, but still. Okay, now back to discussions and things. Let's see. So I know I missed some stuff over here. Also, in the SNES version, Denim is bugged. In Chapter 4, he'll get stat growth of Lord regardless of what class he's actually in. I kind of got to agree with Damian on that one. That's not a bug, it's a perk. I mean, it just sounds like he's coming into his own at that point. I mean, it probably, given the development the development oddities of every Mitsuna game ever, I would assume that was probably on purpose. Like that, there are so many things that seem like bugs that just as easily could be perks, or features rather. So you raise him as a ninja to get agility and dex, and then Lord stats to powerhouse him as a TK in Chapter 4 Chaos. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, TK is such a weird reward for that one. Because it's like, for those that haven't played SNES before, Denim's alignment limits what classes he has access to, so like, if he's lawful, then he gets to go have access to the sword master. He's gonna go be a good boy sword guy, and if he's neutral, he gets to be a dragoon. He's gonna go be allegedly a dragon slayer, although he's mostly just slightly better knight. Gets offensive stuff. It's kind of weird how the dragoon takes over for the kind of ogre battle version of the Terror Knight, and then just like, it's kind of just a weird placement now that I think about it. Anyway, yeah, and then yeah, you get, if you decide to go Chaos, then you're getting the Terror Knight, and allegedly there's a stat bonus, and allegedly there's a morale drop, and I say allegedly because my god, you don't feel it. But anyway, let's see. Always put him as a warlock, so he has dragon magic plus insane physical. Fair, that sounds like a fun combo. I actually didn't know about that Chapter 4 stat growth thing, so need to remember that for next time. I was just assumed he was maybe I was doing something right. So I think Warlock is neutral, maybe Law. I thought they were chaotic neutral. Let's see, let's go Law route, fair enough. TK needs agility and dex, or else it won't hit anything. Yeah. So you've been playing Tor like crazy last couple of weeks and watching your guides. It's been super helpful. Glad to help, man. There's a lot of weirdly specific mechanics in the series, so if I can help, that'll help. And then just so you know, all the mechanics learned in this one are like 10% transferable to the rest of the series, so that's fun. See, implying what you do to go on the lawful path makes you a good boy. I mean, that's meant to be the irony of the series. It's like, oh, you followed the law. You are such a good person. Just ignore all the bodies. And then Chaos Route is like, you're terrible and chaotic, and you've caused all this destruction that surprisingly has saved lives along the way. The delightful irony. So you don't remember Warlock alignments? Hell, I can probably check. I've got my Vita right over here. Hold on, let me... Oh, right. Never mind. Hold on, let me switch over to that. Yeah, they recently had done a bunch of ports over to the Vita, including my niece was insisting that I need to play through Delta Runes, so I was trying that out. And yeah, it's like better Undertale. Yeah, let me go over to TO, and then we'll go back to what we were doing. Actually, screw it. I'm just gonna... That is gonna take a minute. Where are you? Good old luck.tacticsogre.com. Where are your alignments? Go over to... classes and things. Where is it in the Warden Report? I don't know. This website is so stylized that it has been since the 90s. It's still... Like, if anyone here did not grow up in the 90s and they want the experience of a 90s website for all of its good and its bad, lucked.tacticsogre.com. It has stayed the same the entire time. And it's just such an experience. Alright, here we go. Go to advanced mail classes. And I've somehow got a recipe for Bananas Foster. What the fuck is this? I don't know. There was some kind of ad that decided to take over. Alright, Warlock is lawful neutral, not chaotic. Okay, I'm thinking of Knight of Lotus then. Because Knight of Lotus, it is definitely neutral chaotic. I know that for sure. But yeah. Lawful neutral needs some MP, some int, some mentality. And they get most of the cool spells. There we go. Okay. Back to it. Back to attempting to one-shot this man. Okay. Get the plume going. Gonna go ahead and move him one tile forward and just sitting and waiting. See if we can maybe... Actually, no. I feel like one tile back. Just keep letting them pull backwards. Let them get a little bit closer and then start unloading the Petra darts. You know, it is kind of funny that even in a game with agility getting absolutely thrown under the bus by most people's opinion, having a ring of agility would be, or a better ring of agility would be so nice here. Alright, let's see. I used to visit those sites. Yeah, they're still the same ones, too! Like, just tacticsogre.com is the Knight of Lotus one. It still holds up to this day. There's just so much soul in them, regardless of how hard information can be to find. So I'm just glad that Luck is still up. Same here, man. It makes me happy to look at those two sites every time I see them. Like, sometimes I just go there for no reason other than just like, yeah, this is just fun to look at. So the enchanters were lawful, neutral, and Obi. That's the only reason I remember. Gotcha. Alright. We should be just within range to give the guy the blow dart business. Right, no poison yet. Wait, what the hell bonus objective was that? Obtain a... Oh, okay, cool. Nifty, nifty, and over there we can get more experience. Yay! Good to know that prize is on the table. I'm actually... So, I don't know how they're scripted, but I'm a little bit surprised that we haven't gotten any mods that have tried to redo the reward system up to this point. Because it seems like a lot of things could be done with that. Alright, come on, Fireverse. Do your thing. It's 55%. And, well... I mean, the 55% hit, the 25% or so didn't. Alright. I'll get the breach anyway. Then it's Zapan's turn. Get the breach. Wish he would not have gotten knocked that way, but that's fine. Gonna start piling people over in that direction. Alright. That's only 324. What am I missing? Why is it less? Oh, because he didn't get a physical yet, that's why. Well, at least we've got the double finisher. It might be possible to just go for the triple slap here. Or maybe not, because of the heal 2 over there. See, is there a good sorcerer guide for the various drops? I still need to figure out what I need from the shaman shrines, but everywhere I look is conflicting info. You're playing Tor, right? If Tor, then yes. Just look up the... there were several drop guides put together from, I believe, the Chinese community, like, a few months after release. Those are generally still right. There's just kind of like one guide for Tactics Ogre Reborn guides, or drops, rather. I should mention, it doesn't mention the weird, like, level brackets thing, because that pretty much never comes up unless you're doing a run like this, so for the most part, they're going to be accurate. And yeah, the... what else was it? The conflicting info is because a lot of things changed in Reborn, so like a lot of things change as far as where things are located. So for example, when it comes to the shrines, like in Reborn, all you got to do is just beat the shrines and beat the boss. First time that you go through, you're going to get the crafting books, you're going to get a sort of initial copy of the Apocrypha, and there's a chance for 3 of them to drop certain weapons. Now, that's just kind of the first time through. If you then go through a second time, it is a higher difficulty version, and then you have a low chance to get Apocrypha 2, as well as 3 of them, that being the lightning, water, and what was the other one? Wind temples, having a chance to drop their 3 weapons there. But yeah, bear in mind again, it is a chance for the higher level version. Typically, the way that you handle it is you run through it once, then you cheese your way through the harder level version of the fight, then you go back with level caps disabled, and then just, like, repeatedly curb stomp that fight. And yeah, that's usually how you farm for Apocrypha 2. So that's all well and nifty. Alright, now come on, get the averse so we can figure out what this does. And he's gonna miss. Fantastic. Neo Seekers, there we go. Neo Seekers Reborn Guide, right. That's the one I was thinking of earlier. For some reason I was thinking GeoCities. Like, I'm not even sure GeoCities exists anymore. But yeah, Neo Seekers, that's why. Okay. Let's go ahead and shield bash this guy into the wall. It's not going to do much, but it's 10. Alright. Now, yeah, 174 with poison, or another one of these. I mean, realistically, still, this one didn't line up. It's alright. Just need one more. Just throw one more and it's doable. I'm trying to think if there's a better way to handle this for the time being. Because, yeah, having him switch to fire entirely would be ideal, but... The sort of, like, overall perfect scenario is that the Knight and the Cleric over here get petrified. Pretty unlikely to happen. Like, all of this stuff in general would just be so much easier if we had access to Eagle Eye. Just, like, one good archer. Just give me one good archer and we're good to go. Bridle. In fact, actually, that's probably the other thing. Is they have Bridle, they potentially have some attacks that are barely dodgeable, if at all. Let's see, so if I understand correctly, then I want the Apocrypha 2 from each. And then 3 of them have weapons. I already have the Water Spear and Earthquake 2. Oh, well, yeah, Apocrypha 2, that's... I mean, it sounds like you already know what you're doing then. Because, yeah, it's a pretty rare chance for those Apocryphas to even drop. That's why you normally just kind of set up a thing right at that moment before you go in. And then you just kind of redo the same fight over and over. Huh. Alright. That's kind of an interesting scenario. Yeah, he's separated himself away from his healing. I doubt it'll be enough. But it would be kind of interesting, though, if this somehow managed to pan out. But yeah, so for the temples there, the water spear is okay. The lightning dagger is shockingly mediocre, and then you got the wind talons that are pretty much value-wise the best fist weapon in the game. So there's that. So you had to chariot scum to get them. They're if you'd prefer not to do that, the simplest way, like I know what I did was I went and put together an AI team basically. Let's see, depending on which temple it was just a bunch of counters and a bunch of charm bows. So especially if you go back there after POTD, so you just grab some charm bows, grab some of those. And then just have them curb stomp the fight over and over. Check if you got it in the drop screen. If you didn't, just reload. You know, done deal. Just wasn't sure if they all drop weapons. No, they don't. Yeah, that was always one of those oddly specific things. Like, maybe they originally had meant for all of them, but realistically the talons are the only ones that are actually worth getting. Like, the sort of headcanon I had is that the dagger from the Lightning Temple there is the prototype that they base all of the dagger and shredding off of, but it's directly just worse than most of the stuff you can make in that thing. Like, you get a crafting book and they're like, here you go, would you like to just make better stuff in bulk? See, even equipping True Flight or True Strike things won't work. They can. It just won't necessarily be what I'm looking for here. So I remember spending weeks on Palace of the Dead to get finishers. I'd have to write a list keeping track of who needed what for which finisher. Oh, for the SNES version? Yeah. And then they're like, oh, it's a weapon that it's a skill that causes damage. Cool. So you want to tell me more? No. So he was in PSXTO, so True Strike didn't exist yet? Yeah. True Strike was running to somebody's back and hoping that it worked. Trying to think if there's any better ways to do this here. Like, realistically, there's not even much of a reason to have him here. She's the last free concentration caster, so might as well have her here. Actually, come to think of it, no, you can solve for time. And then you finally need... No, you're not the one who needs a blow dart. It's the other one that needs a blow dart. You, I think. Nope. You. Rachel. There we go, more petrification, and away we go. So you have most of the enchiladas from POTD, but I'm missing one or two. Never went further than the shop on floor 24. Wait. What? Most of the books drop in under floor 30. What do you mean you got most of them? If you never made it past 24, then how are you getting all the books? Because bear in mind, not all of them are Enchiridion. Some of them are literally just like the shield or helmet craft or stuff like that. See, anyway, to get more Crystallos to craft the later game weapons and probably some more flight rings. Generally speaking, I just went through POTD a couple times and intended to drop a decent amount. Or not POTD, through Graveyard, sorry. Because yeah, stuff there tends to drop a decent amount of them. Stuff around, most of the time, like graveyard is the easiest way to farm more of that. Charms are going to be from the woods, and then like stat charms later, what POTD is going to have a lot of. But really, by the time you have stat charms, you should be focusing on other stuff anyway. Like, it's actually funny that I remember double checking all this stuff a while ago, but it was like, if you decided to take every single one of the stat charms all the way through POTD and then compared it with, let's say, something like the whole Ogre Blade thing, doing an entire run to go get another one of those would still end up being a dramatically better value than just sitting there getting all the stat cards. But anyway. Because yeah, for those that didn't know, if you body swap somebody, they keep all their mental stats, and you can body swap them into a way, way younger body, and then they just like retrain all their stats. So if, for example, they double up on their intelligence or something like that, at that point you can just, like, you can have somebody that's more or less mind-bulleting people. These Petra darts, man. This is why Eagle Eye is so good. It would be real great for them to be doing stuff right now. Alright, let's see. Right, PSXTO is forgivable if your unit falls, revive item is very something, and revive spell is only available near the end of chapter 2, and only one copy so far. Magic Noji can be removed. I mean, you can remove it in this too. The only time it wasn't removable was in PSP, or technically One Vision, although One Vision usually does a pretty good job of making sure that you just sort of, you still have access to those things if they need to be replaced. Like when you go through, come to think of it, I forget if the thing with the temples changed, where you basically just kind of get a currency that you use to buy Apocrypha, more or less. So yeah, most of them drop on the floors before the shop. Some, like Helm and Dagger, have got multiples. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of them. I like to call that area the library. You just get an absolute ton of them at once. So you had one dedicated healer with res and heals until Dead Sister joins, then it's res, heals, and Draconite of choice. Yeah, or Star Ion. And just kind of let everything get vaporized. It is the undead Lysol, basically. Just keep spraying it and everything disappears. But I mean, I had that experience last time through BOTD a little while ago in that version, and it was like you had the let's put you here. You had this fun experience of like you have that healer, but then the one time you forget to put them somewhere safe, you know, they end up getting one-shot crit by some random gremlin or something, and then immediately resurrect as an angel. It's just like they've deleted your resurrection, they've deleted that unit, but hey, you technically got an angel now. Yeah, I would definitely be down for those mechanics coming back if they ever did a sequel, though. That was a ton of fun. It's like, that's the joy of a lot of these games when they decide to lean into it. It's just like, it's when things are chaotic and completely suboptimal and not going the way that you want them to, but you just kind of make do anyway and cool stories result. That's really when the series is at its best. It's like, I think that's why the PSP version rubbed many the wrong way, because it's like, here's all these cool mechanics, and then it's just like, it's way too locked down and you don't get to experience the chaos as much. Isn't Starion considered Draconite? I thought Starion was Divine in that one. I could be wrong, but I think so. Hang on, I'm double checking here real quick, because yeah, Warlock can't use it. They got Wipeout, Asteroid, Mute, Tempest, Dominion, Identify, and Retishu. Meanwhile, the Exorcist gets Star Ion. It's listed as Divine. Yeah. Weird note, by the way, on Lord in that one. They actually don't get... they basically don't get access to a lot of things you'd assume they would. Star Ion's one of them. Alright. Now, can't get to the knight. Might be able to get this guy, though. Maybe have to consider Divine Draconite, Headcanon versus in-game. Who knows? I mean, that game's mysterious on purpose. It wants to be. Now, come on. I need this Averse to hit so we can at least test out what this number looks like. Come on. Alright. Right. Weird maneuver here. If this works, it did not. I was trying to knock him backwards into the skill card so that hopefully we might kind of also screw this up, didn't I? What I was hoping to do there was knock him into the skill card so that Zapan could hopefully pick up this, but eh. Alright. Might as well just have him stay still at this point. Maybe attempt to put this guy to sleep. But he doesn't have his concentration up, so never mind. Alright, he's got the Berserk. Pick up the physical, pick up the critical. Pre-breach, 405. We've got multiple good setups here. Oddly enough, he's going to get himself poisoned there. Okay, that works. Kind of at high cost, but I'll take it. He's reasonably far away from the cleric. Knight's uncomfortably close, but whatever, we'll deal. See, Lord Spellist is terrible in PSX TO. I mean, it's all classic TOs, it's not just PSX. I mean, in all honesty, it's just, in my opinion, completely not worth it in that game whatsoever. So, like, here's this permanent change, and now, what do you get for it? You have the same stats that you would have gotten anyway, apparently. You have a spell list that consists of pretty much exclusively fuck all, and then on top of that, you're now limited in terms of your weapon specializations. Skills wise, not really any different from anybody else. Like, I don't know, it's just weirdly limited. Alright, so now we got the breach. That is now a 486. That is that's odd. I wonder why that's so little on him. Oh well. I think it's because the Strengthen is already doing a bunch of that. Huh. I never really thought about it, but, I wonder if there actually is a little bit of overlap in terms of the actual functions between Strengthen and Breach. Because that did not feel like a 50% bonus. Well, I guess we'll find out. Alright, let's see. Usable Lord spells are the same as generic Clerics in OG. Clerics cannot use Exorcism spell in OG. That's the job of the Priest and Exorcist. Generic Priest is removed in the remake. Yeah, pretty much. It's like they get some basic heals, that's about it. So you only really played PSX, so can't voice opinion on others. They are the same, except for a couple minor things. I believe there's some very minor, kind of... I don't even know if there's a documented list of any super minor like changes as far as where somebody's located or whatever, but I know the statues on POTD are different because this was during the Satanic Panic, and my god, they would not let them hold ankhs on the statues, so instead they're holding, you know, crucifixes, because apparently having permanently petrified priests is gonna just make the Catholic parents of the 90s more happy. I don't know. It's weird. Let's see, attack-based Divine for Lord would have made more sense. They kind of sort of did that later. Like, unfortunately, he became an absolute, just like, unequivocal Boy Scout by the time we got to, PSP. Like, that was his main limiting factor. Okay, you know what? This is actually potentially still doable. If dodge rolls here... he actually didn't decide to go for the finisher. Yeah, even if breach wears off... Okay, I don't know about the breach wearing off part, but if we retreat, pick up the physical, grab a quick heal, assuming all buffs remain where they are, they might not. This should still be doable. Cleric's out of the picture. He can only recover 200 anyway. That's actually very beneficial. Where's the Knight at? Knight's actually pretty far right now. Okay. Go here, pick this up. The critical is too far away. We'll use this one. Because I believe recovery time should be, yeah, significantly better on the leaf. Okay. We should be able to pick up the second, or rather final physical over there. Actually, don't even have time for that. Okay. It's... Breach didn't wear off, so this might be it. Because Denham's about to bleed out anyway. Alright, come on. Let me have that turn. Alright. And yeah, that's it. That's the one shot. We withdraw, he says, just like pancaking into the river. Let's see, original OGTO equals PSX version. I played that one. The original translation grew on me, so that playing the remake, it took some time to adapt to the new translation, especially people's names. Yeah, the names are very different. Although I love how they have the original names as kind of hidden bosses in this one. Because you have a Losser and Iam as bosses, which is funny because it's not even Hobram's mistranslation name or anything. Iam's the Goetic demon or whatever that he was based off of. Alright, so that's going to be basically it for tonight. I just want to take a quick look at this one to see what we're working with here. Not going to save it because that would just be absolute run-ending nonsense. Okay. This is going to be the easiest, probably. Same situation as last time, basically just flaming fist this guy. Yeah, this one's always a bit difficult to get to, but... I mean, Siege might do the trick here. Although, if these guys aren't... No, they are running a Rampart. Alright. Anyways, yeah, we'll go ahead and back out of that one for now. Let's kind of go back and kind of discuss what we're doing for next time, because this took a unfortunately long time to get past this one section. And do have to get up early tomorrow, so here's basically what we're looking at. Next time consists of this man punching 2 people in the face, and then we get a Dragoon guy, and that's about it. Then a bunch of options opened up. At that point, until we hit this castle, this area should remain open. Once that happens, again, options should open up pretty dramatically, seeing as far as Yunin is concerned, he's just an overall better version of what Zapan's already doing at this point. Just got to retrain him on different skills and things. If he's above 20, that more than doubles the amount of finishers that are available all of a sudden, which means a lot more counters, which means that future runs go a good bit smoother. Because as of right now, due to the fact that he's locked to 15 and cannot dream of, you know, touching any number with a 2 in it, that limits things significantly. So, you know, given our weapon options right now, for fists, the second one would be a neutral. Second one would be neutral for daggers. For swords, that would allow for being able to have a pretty high chance of poisoning pretty much anything without having to have a melee weapon for it, while also keeping a different multi-hit around. For swords, we get a lightning move. For axes, we get a silencing move. For spears, we get a breaching move. For hammers, that's going to be a weakening move, which is going to help too much. The lightning one that I was thinking of should be the one coming out of 1 HKs. 2 HKs get their fall strike move, I believe. It might be the petrification one. I'm blanking off the top of my head. I feel like it's one of those two. Sticks get more stick moves. We get the... Was it the water move? Or is it the... No, it's the stun move on the whip, so that's not going to help much. There's a lightning move on these ones. We get the sleep move on bows. And then we get that one that we really won't be bothering with for crossbows. So, okay, those options are not amazing, but it's at least more new stuff. Anyway, so y'all have yourselves a fantastic evening. Oh, let's see. Palace of the Dead was called Hellgate. Hanging Gardens was called Eden. Resistance was called Liberation Army. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of little things like that. Let's see. Class changes are restricted by gender, stats, alignments. Yeah, a lot of stuff was very different in that one. Anyway, gotta get going, so y'all have yourselves a good one. Thank you for stopping by, and eventually this run will end. Okay, take care. Later. And where's the thing with stopping?